Hello, everyone. We're again, and welcome as always, everyone that's here. At the moment, there isn't anybody, but somebody might come. And of course, it's as usual. We've got Delboy, and this is episode 103.
Oh, bloody hell.
103 episodes. Doesn't it make you feel old?
We're,
Yeah,
we're still here.
I should know, shouldn't I? Anyhow, as always, I'll say, what have you been watching? Even though we have been chatting, but nobody knows we've been chatting. But anyhow, what have you been watching?
Wow. I must admit, things will get a bit better. I am starting to watch a few things. Sai, who's already in the room, will be relieved to know that I did open my box of Suspiria. Hang on, let me just turn these things off, for God's sake, for a minute. Hang on. There we go, look. Right, so I have opened it up, look, Sai, look, and I have watched it. But I need to watch it again, because I was just explaining to Ian that Movie Guys watched it as well. I was just about to do a recording, and he went and bloody brought one out yesterday, didn't he? The sod. So, but I watched it, and I want to watch it again because it's one of those films that I think the first time you watch it, it's a bit. I would say it's a bit jarring. It's like cut in a way that I hadn't got a clue what was sort of like going on at first. You know, she gets off the train, goes in a taxi, knocking at the door, says something to somebody. That person gets killed, goes off to the ballerina class, starts falling over and like as if she's got some sort of like she's got heat stroke or something, and then everybody she's talking to seems to get killed off. There's a blind man, and his dog rips his throat apart, and I was just going, what the hell's going on? I don't understand it. Of course, you understand the pacing of films after you've watched as many as we have, Ian. And you just realize that 3/4 of the way through the film, she's going to talk to someone and he's going to explain it all. He's going to say, oh, yeah, this all started in the 18th century and that building's got a history and it's full of evil and a witch's coven started here and all of it. And I was going, oh, bloody hell, where were you half an hour ago? And I didn't understand what the bloody hell was going on. All I know is some of these people are not very likable. That's all I got out of it. I was going, well, you're a bitch for a start, woman. Jesus Christ, what are you like? What do you mean I'm not feeling very well? I don't give a shit. You got to dance. All this sort of. I'm not going to like you very much, am I? So I was just going, it's full of non-likable people. That's all I can say about it. You know, you're even nasty to the blind man. What the hell? You know. So I really want to watch it again. You can tell I've watched it because I've just talked a little bit about bits and bobs in it. But what I will tell you is I didn't not like it. In fact, actually, I was getting quite into it. It's just I want to watch it again and then go, oh, that's what that means. Right, got you. Right, and then I can give it a more favorable look. I think certain films require two looks. Do you know what I mean? And this one definitely deserves once more of my time on it. You know what I mean? So there's that. So I watched that, and I'm going to bring out my little video review of it later on. Thanks very much to the person who came in last week. My copy of From Beyond the Grave turned up. So that's good. A film that I watched must be around COVID time. I rewatched this week because I forgot I pre-ordered it, to be quite honest, and that's Outbreak. So the Dustin Hoffman film, and I watched this around COVID time because it was about pandemics and things like that. Although this one was about a monkey spreading it around and what now you can quarantine a whole town. Isn't it amazing that during COVID it quarantined the world? You know what I mean? Jesus Christ, you know. So have you ever seen Outbreak, Ian? I really like it.
Yeah, a long time ago I have, yeah.
So that's good. And one that's turned up that I have no idea really about is this film, The Housemaid.
Oh, yeah, I don't know much about that. I've heard people showing it, yeah.
What's really weird is it's right way up that way and not that way. I've got no idea. I think that's because it's got a J covered. That's all. It's just a J
Oh,
covered.
yeah.
And I think it's actually some sort of like extra features or something. You know what I
I've
mean?
seen people showing it. It's a new. It must be quite a new release, isn't it?
Yeah. So at night when I've been trying to go to sleep, ITV have been showing all the Indiana Jones films again, right? And I'm one of the people that I dislike, or should I not dislike? I don't get on with the Temple of Doom. I never have. I love the first one, love the third one, and probably because the third one is a bit like the first one. It was about the Ark, and the next one was the Crusades. The second one was, tunnels with mine carts and looking for gems or something, and it didn't really gel with me. And the little boy going, Mr. Jones, and all that really pissed me off, really, to be quite honest.
Grumpy old.
So, I found it all right to watch, but I just went, this is not like Raiders when I first saw it. You know what I mean? And when The Last Crusade came out, and it had Sean Connery in, and it had John Williams doing sort of like British hymns. There's that motif that tells you it's totally British. That na 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 na. You're watching something like King Arthur's Court and all of this sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? And I've always told you I really enjoy a film where the music blends and is complemented with the visuals. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that John Williams has done terrible scores, but I do think sometimes he doesn't hit the mark. You know what I mean? Sometimes. So yeah, there is that. I did watch Total Recall. And I still prefer the Arnie version.
Of course.
And of course, as soon as I listen to that, I have to go and listen to the score because it's Jerry Goldsmith. But it's funny because I told wee Bob, you do understand that the beginning of Total Recall, that score, is ripped from Basil Polidaris' score of Conan. If you listen to the music of Conan, the main theme, and then you listen to Total Recall, it's totally ripped. But actually, Jerry Goldsmith actually did turn around and say intentional, because when they were doing a first showing of the film, the music wasn't scored yet. They actually used Conan's music as the main title music, just so that the execs could see how it was going, and they said they really liked it. So of course he just ripped the whole first 30 seconds, put it in. So that was quite fun. So yeah, I've watched the Indiana Jones, all of them. They've showed all of them over sort of like the last 2 weeks or so. Two each week. With the fifth one being the last one. And I still don't like the fifth one. Sorry. I even like the Crystal Skull over the last one. Jesus Christ, that's saying something. You know what I mean?
A lot of people have said that, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's with young Indiana Jones type bloody characters in it and shit like that, and a wedding at the end and a hat blowing through the church and all that sort of crap. I still get on with that film more than I do the fifth one. And that's saying something, because the fifth one's got some good bits in it. It's just it's not right. It's not right for me. That one. It's there's a lot wrong with it, and I think Harrison Ford is actually part to blame because he's getting old. He doesn't look right. Him jumping about and all of that sort of stuff. Even Clint Eastwood in The Line of Fire recognized, I'm getting old. I can't run behind the president's car. I'm actually in my 50s, right? I can't run 4 miles down the road with the president's car. I'm old, right? And you have to recognize I'm old. And I don't think Indiana Jones ever recognizes I'm getting old, right? In any of the films. You know what I mean? I do admit though, if somebody was running behind me with a machine gun and was firing at me, I think I'd find some energy as well to run away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But all I'm saying about that is that there was a couple of Carry On films I watched as well, leading on from last week, because I was heavily into watching the Carry Ons over the bank holiday. And yeah, that's about it. I watched some TV stuff. I did watch the first couple of episodes of a TV series called The Burbs, which is based on the film. It was all right. And there's another one called The Miniaturized Wife or something.
Yeah.
Which is been heavily advertised on Sky. But I only watched one episode, so it's unfair to actually talk about that really too much, because really, all you know is she's miniaturized, he's going to try and get her large, and all these things are happening to her while she's still small. That's all I know, really. You ain't going to learn much from one episode. No. You know what I mean? So I don't think I can talk about much else. I've been entertained by watching Muckman and his videos. Yeah, I can see Muckman's in, the bastard, right? And I've been watching your stuff. So I've been heavily entertained, but I'm looking forward to doing what I promised, which is mentioning Psy in my next video and talking about Suspiria. I'm looking forward to getting my video out. Do you know what I mean? So I'm a bit excited about it. So
right.
All right, that's all I can say about that.
Okay, right. I suppose you're waiting for me now.
Well, I will say this: when I saw Muckman and he was with Caroline Munro, Caroline Munro does a section on Hammer horror films on a Friday called Movie Club. And she sort of like walked on set for a film that I was in. I was in a film called Apocalypse. Do you remember?
Yeah, you said that. Yeah.
But she was in the film before it, done by the same director. She actually came to speak to the director. Actually, it wasn't to be in the film; it was just to speak to the director. I only saw her for a brief second. I only managed to get to say hello to her. She was walking on, and then she walked off. But she was in a film, I think it was called Rabid Bunnies, and it was filmed in Oxfordshire, which is all about these rabbits going around eating people. I've actually got the film. I've actually got a digital copy of it. I might send it to you. Yeah, that brought back memories of me and my just glimpse of saying hello to someone that I'd love to have had a longer chat with, but she came on just to speak to the director and then she walked off again. I think it was a flying visit. That was all I could say about that. Yeah. So anyway, fire away with Tony York's Corner.
No, actually,
the heavy advertisement on Muckman movies. There's everything else that you normally do.
Do you know there's only one Tony York Corner film? So there you are. So I'll start.
What's going on? Are you running out of films or something?
No.
Because it'll send you a box. It'll send you a box more, and it'll send it tracked 48-hour bloody delivery.
There's still lots of Tony York films. There's still loads to get through. But it's. I'll tell you what it is. Sometimes you just get in the mood that you want to watch something that you really enjoy. You've seen a lot before, and that's where I did. So I'll tell you what I watched. Right, first thing I watched was Star Wars. Ah, yes.
Bloody hell.
70s, 1977. This is just, it brings back so many memories. I think for a lot of people, it's a 70s film. That's where it all began. Fantastic, as because we know it's written by, directed George Lucas. I mean, what a film to do. And I know you've seen this film. I think people sometimes forget that his earlier films, which is THX 1138, a sci-fi film, which is really good, and of course American Graffiti who doesn't love a bit of American Graffiti?
American Graffiti with Richard
Yeah,
Dreyfuss and
absolutely
Harrison Ford,
wonderful.
and Harrison Ford is absolutely
Yeah,
brilliant. THX I found a bit static.
it's his first film. It's like
It's
a
his
sort
first
of
film.
a studenty kind of film.
I was thrown by the fact that you brought up Star Wars, right? I
Yeah.
thought, weird. Why are you doing that? Did that make you want to go? I want to watch the original one rather than this thing. But I'll let you carry on talking.
Yeah. So I watched this, and so it just, I wish they hadn't messed about with some special effects. I'm one of those people as well. But we've got what we've got. We can't do anything about it. It's still an absolutely wonderful film. So I'm not going to go wild and mad like, people ranting away. They did it, they changed it, but so what? But what I liked, it's interesting when you look. You see, Harrison Ford looks so young. You see him there. It's incredible. And Mark Hamill, of course, before, the way he was, he had some unfortunate accident, I think, which is why he looks like he does now, which happened, when we saw the films that he did later on. But I mean, what a cast, this original one. You've got Alec Guinness in it, and you've got him. Here we go. I can hear people already laughing, but I'm going to get it right. And of course, we've got Peter Cushing in it. I didn't say it. People were waiting. And of course, anything Peter Cushing is in is absolutely fantastic. And he's great. He's great as a villain. He's a villain. He's not the nice guy in this. And of course, we've got somebody with extreme asthma, Darth Vader. It's just wonderful stuff. And of course, the robots, it's all there. It's all brilliant. So after I'd watched this, I thought, well, what can you do? You've got to watch the next one. So here we are. The Empire Strikes Back, 1980. Now, this one's got a different director. It's got Irvin Kershner, who directed Spies, 1974. Return of a Man Called Horse, 1976. Eyes of Laura Mars, which was really good, 1978. And RoboCop 2, 1990. Oh, and he did I don't like it, but some people do. He did Never Say Never Again, 1983. Sean Connery film, returning as Bond, but I don't think it's very good. But people will argue with me on that one. But so this one, a lot of people rate it, I think, because it's so much darker. It's a darker film, because we forget that Star Wars was very popular and it was aimed at kids as well. There's a kid sort of factor in, even though you can say, looking through all these Star Wars films, they all have a children's factor in them. But this one is perhaps the most darkest of them all. And I think some people rate this as their favorite as well. But I mean, the robots, people just love the chemistry between the two robots, CP30 and
I'll just mention something here, because I saw the original Star Wars, like 1977, 78, like a lot of kids did, and I was 8 years old, 9, somewhere around there. I was a bit older because it's 2 or 3 years later. It's 1980, that film? 1980?
Yes. This is 1980, right? Yeah.
Right. Not only had the special effects been bumped up beyond what what my wildest dreams at the time, it was a darker film, and I was starting to become I started to appreciate a darker film more. Do you see what I mean? And I actually thought the second film was better than the first film. And only the third film disappointed me, believe it or not. And the reason the third film disappointed
we'll get to that in a minute.
I'll just say I'll just say it's the Ewoks.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I knew you'd say
right?
that.
But that second film, I still think is on par, if not better than the first.
Yeah, that's
all I wanted to say, really.
No, and also the cliffhanger ending I always find interesting, because you're wondering, when Han Solo gets frozen in that thing, that's a great way to leave it. It's not a happy ending, is it? It's not a happy ending at all. The way this goes on. So, and of course, the revelation in the film as well is the big thing, isn't it? Darth Vader being Luke's father.
Hang on, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
I think everybody knows that. It's funny we say that, but I think everybody knows that. You just look at some article and it'll say. So I don't think
I am kidding, but yes. But you have to.
No,
I tell you what,
there
will be some bugger that will come along and hit the thumbs down, saying thanks very much for spoiling and telling me this.
You're right. I mean, let's face it. The average age of our audience who watches this, most of them have watched it. We don't get any sort of young millennials, people like that watching much. You never know. But anyhow, so I watched that, and then naturally, after I thought, well, you might as well, hadn't you? So I carried on and watched The Return of the Jedi. Which is there we are.
Which wasn't its original title.
No, what was the original title? I think
it was Revenge.
Yeah, the studio.
They couldn't use Revenge.
Yeah,
I think there was another film that came out with Revenge in the title. Plus, they thought it was too harsh or something.
Yeah. Now this director who directed this is Richard Marquand, I think that might be it. And his films are The Legacy, 1978, Eye of the Needle, which I really like, which is a sort of a wartime film. I think it's First World War. And then Jagged Edge. What a film that is. Though once
we've been talking about that the last couple of weeks, haven't we?
Absolutely love Jagged Edge. And then another one which I've not heard of, but is down, which is his last film, is Hearts of Fire. I don't know that one. But there was a lot of TV series and TV films. And I didn't realize he died in 1987 and he was only aged 49 years old.
Yeah.
So it's quite a loss. Who knows what he could have carried on directing, but this film, I think it does get a bad rap because from people like you who say about the Ewoks, but I see they're put in there because of the child remembering kids, like this film. I think that's what they're for. They're there for.
Yeah.
That's what it's obvious, and it may not have the same sort of power as The Empire Strikes Back, but it's still a nice ending. It's still a good ending to the series. And let's face it, I was thinking about this, that the original Star Wars trilogy is really good. The prequels, they're all right, the prequels, but there's not the excitement, I don't think, in the prequels. And then the ones after, the sequels, again, I don't feel there's the same excitement. And where you look at Star Wars is now, in terms of Disney Plus and the spin-off series as they've done, like Andor, I'm not going to knock Andor too much. It is pretty good. But it's the whole tone of the Star Wars thing has changed totally. It's become more adult. It's more serious, I think. And it's interesting that it started off with this as a children family entertainment as well, for adults as well. Whereas Andor kids are not going to like, are they, as much?
No.
There's a reason for that, I suppose, because the audience have grown up and they want more Star Wars universe, and that's what we've got. But maybe the reason why the failures of Star Wars now, because people now are not as keen on it. Andor was popular, but there's been other ones which haven't gone down that well. And maybe it's because they've lost that excitement. They've become too serious, but they've become too adult.
Yeah.
And we've forgotten about where they started from. It's just an idea, maybe.
I mean, I think the other reason why I don't hold Return of the Jedi up as high as it did was that the second film is very dark.
Yeah.
And this film seemed, and you got to remember that after that, another 3 years have passed, right?
Yes.
And that means I'm now in my teenage years.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at kidifying things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just going, well, that was a bit of a disappointment. What's all those cuddly looking bloody creatures? They might as well be like Yogi Bear was in it. You know what I mean?
For all that
there's still. I mean, you've got all this speeder bike stuff, which is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
and you've got the. I mean, I did go, oh, what, the Death Star again? I mean, I did do that, but it just seemed like if you had a Death Star and it blew up, of course you're going to build another one, aren't you?
And
so so it didn't ruin it for me. It was just I was going. It's more like they know what made the other ones work, so they just carried on trying to do something the same. Where the others were more innovative. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole point of why I think the third one doesn't work quite as well for me. Remember this? Yeah. I still loved it, and I still went, do you know what? At the time, I was going, do you know what? That's probably the best trilogy. Yeah. And I'd have had it listed in probably my top 5 trilogy films. Yeah. You know what I mean? Of the trilogies that I knew of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
what do you think about Carrie Fisher? I think she did progress quite well through the film. I think she did a good job. I know she wasn't just a stereotype, which I thought was really good. You look at it positive. She was an action sort of character as well.
She was given. Wasn't she given the role of commander, and she actually appeared like a person that was controlling an army type thing, and I think that continued into the next 3 films. The ones that come after that.
Unfortunately, she died, didn't she? I think was it making one of those films, and they only.
Well, it was. They'd filmed the bits, but they needed her to come back. But she died because I mean, she died after she died. Did her mother die first, or did she die and her mother died after? I can't remember. It was in the same week. It was in the same week, wasn't it?
That was a real strange coincidence. That really was, yeah. But I suppose we'll never know. But she obviously would have carried on, I think, into third film. But there we were. But anyhow.
I mean, Harrison Ford made it perfectly clear: kill me off, will you?
Yeah.
Right. It was no surprise really that he was going to go out.
Oh no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You can't blame him, really. I think that was a good move.
No, I understand that. He's done. He did Frantic and all of these, and he's going, "What? I've got to come back to this gobbledygook." Right, but then he turns up in a Marvel film, and you're going, "Well, make your mind up, right?" Well, I mean, but obviously, there's a pay packet in it.
Yeah. So, and they even got him back. I didn't think they'd even get him back for Blade Runner, but they did, didn't they? I didn't think they would.
I think he took that one a bit more seriously, though.
Yeah.
Personally, I think he took the material of Blade Runner and go, do you know what? This is a really serious type film.
I need to do it. Yeah.
I don't think you can do that in a Star Wars film.
No.
And especially a Marvel film.
Yeah.
It's like I've just come away from a critically acclaimed set of films like this, and I'm doing this bollocks. But I'll tell you what, if somebody comes up to me and says, somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, look, yeah, here's 25 million." I'd go, "Yeah, all right, sign me up. I could do with a new plane. Thanks.
I can do that.
I mean, I'd do it. Well, he's he likes flying, don't you? He's not very good. He crashes more. He crashes more than
goes out a window.
He crashes more than he actually flies, I think.
Yeah.
Especially into golf courses and things. But,
Tony York is your Tony York corner film. There's only one this week, but it's this one, which I absolutely loved. It's called Glory. It's from 1989.
Is he only sending you a period piece film?
Well, he knows I love history and all this sort of stuff.
Well, sod him.
Yeah, he knows me well. Well, this film is really interesting. It's the story of the 54th Massachusetts regiment, which was the first really all black regiment in the Civil War. There had been some sort of similar experiments, but this was the first big one. And put in charge of it is this young, sort of ambitious soldier. They promote him to colonel, and that character is played by Matthew Broderick. And the film, I think, is really moving. And we've got Denzel Washington in this, which is an earlier role, and we've got somebody you all love. Well, his voice, Morgan Freeman. I mean, Morgan Freeman's in this as well. That voice, you still can hear his voice. He's brilliant. I absolutely love Morgan Freeman. But this film, it is based on a true story of this Colonel Robert Goldshaw, who raised this regiment. And it's really interesting watching how he does it, because a lot of them saw it as a bit of a fop. Just, we'll do this, but we're not going to put them into battle. We don't really trust them enough to do that. But he, fights for them. He gets them into shape, gets them as a proper taken serious
he does
regiment. And then they go to this, what is happening, that there's a Fort Wagner, it's called, and it's a major southern holdout. It's a place that they've been attacking, and they just cannot get and penetrate this. And sadly, they never did. And this film goes right. I know I won't give it as a big spoiler, but the ending is really sad and tragic.
Yeah, it's powerful though, isn't it?
It's very powerful. That scene, don't you
remember? I bought the 4K steelbook of this. And I talked about it, and I said, "Wow, I didn't realize that they got this band of people that were coloured. I mean, and they used them as soldiers, and and then I think is it Matthew Broderick, isn't it? Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, Matthew Broderick's the white guy.
He sort of trains them up, and he's sort of on their side for a bit, but then he's being pressured not to, isn't he? And I just thought, wow, this is really good. This
it is, and the fact that it's a true story even adds even more to it. I mean, obviously, it's embellished a bit, probably for the film purposes, but the basic story is true. It's a true life story, and he was quite a character, wasn't he, to do this?
Oh yeah.
I mean, to do that.
So I'm just going to check. I'm just going to check on my mum, and then I'll be back in 10 minutes.
Okay, I'll carry on. But yeah, I totally recommend this if you like this sort of period stuff. And especially about the American Civil War, then this is the film. And the cast, as I said, that cast, it's just fantastic. I loved it. And The battle scenes are really good. Everything about this film, it's got that epic feel as well to it, and it gives you really good insight into sort of there's still the attitudes, even on the Union side, which is supposedly fighting slavery, but that's about it. The prejudice is still even within the Union side amongst a lot of elements, and that's why the struggle carried on. The South may have been freed from slavery, but the people in charge didn't change that much. And there was still those attitudes. And even in the North, which was supposedly freer, and it was freer, there was still not always a positive attitude at all to Black people, as we know. So this film shows you that there. I think it's such a good film. I really recommend this one. And then what have we got here? Yeah, we're on the last one, I think, nearly. Yes, we are on the last one. You're probably saying, thank God for that. Yeah, every week I always do one, usually, and it's another Hammer film. So, which Hammer film did I choose? There's so many. But I thought, well, I'll go for a sort of monster feature one. And I've gone for The Reptile. Now, The Reptile, this is from 1966. And this was, in 1966, they had 4 Hammer films, which they showed at the cinema as double bills. And this one was the double bill with, because this was considered the B film, with Rasputin the Mad Monk, which is a great film, Rasputin. Oh yeah, absolutely great film. But The Reptile, this is written by Anthony Hines, who's a wonderful Hammer writer, and it's directed by John Gilling. Now, John Gilling, wow, some of the films, Hammer connections as well. Not all Hammer though. The Flesh and the Fiends, 1960s one directed. The Shadow of the Cat, which I've got, 1961. That's a Hammer. The Pirates of Blood River, 1962 Hammer film. Panic, 1963 Hammer. And then, the Scarlet Blade as well, which is one of the sort of English Civil War kind of versions that they dig. The Brigand of Kandahar, 1965, another one. And then perhaps, I think one of my favorite, it's up there. If I was to do a top 10 Hammer lot of films, then this film would be possibly in the top 5 easier. Could even be really near the top, which is Plague of the Zombies, 1966. He directed that one, and also did The Mummy Shroud, 1967. So there's a lot of good Hammer films that John Gilling directed. Now, this also has another thing that Hammer were doing, which was they were trying to get American stars or American actors. They weren't necessarily stars. They perhaps were not as popular as they once were, but they tried to get Americans in on lead roles. So they got one, which is somebody called Ray Barrett. And he was in A Touch of Death, 1961, and Jigsaw, which I've come across a few times, 1962. And he was the voice in Thunderbirds Go, 1966. And he was the voice of John Tracy and the Hood. Voice acting, brilliant. He was in Revenge, which is another good film, 1971. He was in The Hostages, 1975. And he was in The Chant of Jimmy Blacksmith, 1978, which is one of my favorite Australian films. What a film that is. It's just out. Just love it. Absolutely love the chant of Jimmy Blacksmith. Fantastic film. He was in Contagion. Yeah, well before the pandemic film, 1987, brilliant one. He was in Brilliant Lies, 1996, and he was in Visitors, 2003. And his last film before he died was a film called, funny enough, Australia, 2008. And there was a lot of TV series and TV films as well. So big career there that they chose. And then we have got Jennifer Danielle, who plays Valerie Spalding. She was in Hammer again, Kiss of the Vampire, 1963. I think that's Hammer, yeah. Not in a great deal of films. She was also in Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights, 1992. So that's a different, another Wuthering Heights version. A Wuthering, whatever. There we are. Nelly did a Kate Bush there. Again, quite a lot of TV series. But then I've got the man. Here he is. If you're a Hammer fan, you'll know the words Michael Ripper. And yet, Michael Ripper has actually got a bigger role in this. Yes, he's playing the pub landlord, as he does play the pub landlords and all these, and he's brilliant at it. But he is a much bigger role, and he's great. He's absolutely wonderful. And then we've got somebody Deboy will know, Jacqueline Pierce.
Oh,
she's in this, and she is an absolute beauty. She looks absolutely stunning.
Yeah, I know her so well. I phoned her up the other day. I phoned her up a couple of years back. I said, "Hey, Jackie, right? How are you?" I said, "How are you? I really do like you and your films and everything. How about you coming around for a cup of tea one day?" And it was very nice. Of course, do I know her? No,
of course you do. Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Yeah. I call her Jack now.
Yeah. Hey. Oh, sadly, she's no longer with us. It's a shame. Sad. She was too young. Too young.
Too young. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't she? She was around though, wasn't she? When we were sort of like young men, so sort of like it's like those when you watched Play Away and that, and Brian Cant became sort of like names that you just went, and you remember them all through your life.
Yeah.
And it's like she was in quite a few films that I watched.
Yeah.
And it was like, I remember her. Of course, I remember her. You know what I mean?
And of course, as Doctor Who fans, we remember in The Two Doctors.
Yeah, of course.
She made a Doctor Who appearance there, which is fantastic. I'm glad she was in Doctor Who.
And you know what? She played that just like she would play any other part. She never she was one of those actors that I don't think she ever turned around and said, "Yeah, it was a lot of rubbish, wasn't it, really? Gobbledygook. But I did it because I'm an actress," and all of that sort of stuff. I mean, she was a great actress, and I think she reveled in the costumes that she had to wear. I mean, just think of all the costumes that she wore in Blake 7 and all of that.
She didn't. She did. To be fair to her, she didn't. She wasn't pleased about Blake 7 4th season because they sort of tried to sideline her totally and created a ridiculous other character. But he was the same character, but she was supposedly this other thing. And it didn't work. But the 4th season, as we know, is a bit of a disaster.
But just think about this for a minute. Yeah. In The Two Doctors, she plays a person that wants to change and be better, right?
Yeah.
And she plays a role that's a very strong woman's role. And just look at how strong Servalan was.
Yeah.
And so I look at her as being quite pioneering, pushing the envelope a little bit. And the writers weren't shy on that either. Yeah. And I think she reveled in Blake 7 more, probably because I think a lot of actors and actresses say this. They say, "Oh, you always want to play the bad person because the bad you have more enjoyment playing the bad person. Yeah, you just love it, the fact that they hate you." and you know, and then you get to do all these horrible things to all the good guys, and good girls, and that, you know what I mean?
I think another thing is you see it in this film. She did go into the makeup and played the reptile. They didn't get anybody else to do it. They could have easily have picked somebody else, but well, there's Amma's limited budget, and also the makeup effects are pretty limited. But yeah, she does a good. I think she does a really good job. You know, on what it is, it's brilliant. So yeah,
I'm not scared to say that I fancied Servalan.
Well, of course, I wouldn't. I've got to mention this other actor who plays in it, and he just makes me smile every time I see him. We've got John Laurie, who plays Mad Peter, and of course, John Laurie is, of course, we're doomed. Dad's Army, Private Fraser. I don't think every time you see him, you still see, it's Private Fraser again. But because he had a massive career before Old Dad's Army, you know, doing lots of films and all sorts. And it's funny that in this film, he's playing a sort of mad character, and he's still got that look of Fraser. He's seeing him, you know, twitching his eyebrows, and it's wonderful watching it. I just loved it. But I didn't realize he goes back. His career went back to 1930. And also, he was in Henry V, you know, Olivier's great film from 1944. He also was in, would you believe it, Caesar and Cleopatra, 1945 version. So there is doing a bit of the Egyptian stuff. Treasure Island, he was in that. You can imagine him in Treasure Island. Absolutely wonderful. Hobson's Choice. I mean, Hobson's Choice, what a great British film that is, 1954. And he was in The Abominable Dr. Fives, 1971, Vincent Price film. I mean, it pops up in all sorts of varieties. I didn't realize he was in One of Our Dinosaurs is Missing, 1975.
Oh, wow.
Disney one. He's in that. I'll have to watch it again now. I haven't, unfortunately, got it on physical media, but that is, I should be able to watch it on Disney Plus, I hope, because
that was done in the Natural History Museum, wasn't it?
Yeah,
in London,
he's in it though. He's in it. I didn't realize he was in that. It might probably be a small part, but still. And The Prisoner of Zenda, 1979. So he was still making films even when he was Dad's Army was finished. He's still doing it all.
Yeah.
What a career! I mean, to think that he went back to 1930s, it's just incredible, you know. And I kind of grew up with Dad's Army, and you just see all that, you know. Dad's Army was such a big part of our television viewing. We watched Dad's Army all the time. Absolutely wonderful. What a thing. Anyhow, this basically this story is set in 19th century, so it's Hammer going Victorian. What a surprise. And you get this like sort of ex-army person, and he's inherited this cottage in Cornwall from his late brother, and he brings his new bride with him, as they do, you know. And everybody's looking at him and they're a bit unfriendly, and you know, they say, no, you shouldn't go and live in that cottage, you're doomed. You could say you're doomed. It was like that. And the only person that sort of shows some sort of friendship with them is the landlord, which is, of course, Michael Ripper's character. And his role is, say, much bigger in this film, Michael Ripper. And he's really good. He helps them out. But we soon learn something's not right. There's a big sort of house near the cottage, and this Dr. Franklin lives there, and he's a bit of a sinister character, very sharp, and he lives with his daughter, who of course is played by Jacqueline Pierce, and there's something not quite right. Now, the other character who does pop up, and we see he's standing around a lot. He doesn't say a lot, but is this Man Maitland? There's a character you see straight away and recognize. He was in Camp of Blood Island, 1958. He was in The Stranglers of Bombay, which I think I reviewed not that long ago, actually, 1959. And Cartoon, 1966, he was in that. He was in even Anne of 1,000 Days, 1969. And he was in The Man with the Golden Gun, 1974. But he's great. He's just has this look. He doesn't say much, but you know it's him. He's up to sort of sinister goings on, which is all linked. In the end, we find it's all linked with what's happening. These people are appearing, and they've all got foam mouths, and they've got these two, like in the neck. There's two puncture holes, and they've been bitten. Why have they been bitten, and what's bitten them? And that's like the story as we get into it, really, which links to the reptile going back, you know, when it's basically been brought into this country from the sort of India and all that, the East, Far East, and well, not Far East, East India and all that stuff. But yeah, I really enjoy it. It's Hammer at his best, really. They just did such a great job. The atmosphere on the budgets. Imagine that. They just hardly spend any money and produce great films like this. Wonderful. That's it. Yeah. So let's get on then with all the comments. Let's have a look. Right. Okay. So we've got Cy saying, "Evening, gang. Hello, Cy. Welcome." And then we've got Rocket Bunny. "Good evening, all. Hope everyone is well." Yep. We're all right, lad. And then Cy says, "Hi, Rocket Bunny." And then Rocket Bunny says, "Hey, Cy." And then Dope Sub Gaming. "Hello, people. Can you see my chat today?" Yeah, we can see you. I hope everybody else can. We can see you. And then Cy says, "Del, you need to watch more Argento. I suggest Deep Red." Yeah, Deep Red. Followed by Tenebrae, and then Opera. There you are. Great films. All of them great Argento.
Well, just to show you how serious I take Cy.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously know all of those films by name. But remember, I told you that the only film I'd seen before Suspiria was Cat o' Nine Tails.
That's right, yeah.
And I told you I missed buying the big boxed opera version.
Yeah,
a couple of years back.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Oh, it's great. Opera and Goblin together, fantastic soundtracks.
Well, you know that I told you just before we came on here. I mean, I have mentioned it before, but a lot of people probably don't recognize what I put, which was I bought Goblin well before watching any films.
Yeah.
I think my dad recognized the Leone type of the maestro.
Yeah.
Type of music, where he used weird chants and all of this sort of stuff. You can hear it in Suspiria. And I was, and I don't want to give too much away, but I was saying that I think there was sort of like a really good blend of music matching the visuals in Suspiria.
Yeah.
In the same way that Morricone used that pocket watch. That sort of like music box type thing.
Yeah.
And I've even now got that tune in my head from Suspiria in my going around in my head. Maybe it's and I think you're supposed to. I think that's the whole point. So I'd listened to that music and never knew what the visuals were that went with it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
was really fun. It was really fun watching the film and going, "Oh, that's what that visual's supposed to go with that music that I've listened to. I
Yeah.
don't know how many times. Do you know what I mean?"
Yeah.
So and it was nice to see that Argento had a say in the Goblin.
Yeah.
Because it says music by Goblin
Yeah.
and Dario Argento in the same way that the music of the Thing was done.
Yeah.
Because he used to go to Haworth and they used to do their music together, didn't they?
Yeah.
So the Halloween music, and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. So
I
yeah,
like
it's nice that you get
yeah,
collaborations like
the
that.
the fact that Argento also likes heavy metal, so you'll get heavy metal thrown in as well
Well,
as
that'll be fun
Goblin.
as well because a lot of people think
Um,
I don't like heavy
yeah.
metal. All it
Yeah.
is for years and years I never really sort of like got into it. I liked soft metal because
Yeah.
I liked bands like Heart and all of that sort of stuff. But I was never big on the head banging and moving
Yeah.
their head around
Yeah.
and my dad would always turn around and say, "Can't hear a bloody word what they're talking about." Therefore, I got into the music where you can hear the words. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Without recognizing that. Well, I'll tell you what. The biggest compliment I can say is back in the day, and this is very true. You couldn't release a single unless there was sheet music for it, right? And so you used to be able to go down streets in London where you could pick up the sheet music to stuff that was coming out by Cliff Richard and the Shadows and all of this sort of stuff. And that went on for years and years and years, which basically means even if you don't quite like heavy metal, it has to be musically correct. It has to be in a certain octave and a certain key and all of this sort of stuff. So as much as you're going, "Oh, that was what the hell was all this about," musically it has to be right. Otherwise, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right? So it's got to be correct. And these
Yeah.
people are artists.
That's
So
right.
who am I
Yeah.
to say?
People forget that with punk. Punk,
Yeah.
which I absolutely loved, has to be musically correct. That's why you had people like Glenn Matlock who could play the bass well, which Sid Vicious couldn't. Sid Vicious was just put there by Malcolm McLaren just
Yeah.
as a view, but it was Glenn Matlock who played the bass, and he was also one of the major writers with John Lydon. So you've got to, as you say, it has to make musical sense, unless there are sort of what they'd call avant-garde artists, but some of them is just crap. I've heard some of it. It's like Yoko Ono screaming.
Maybe sometime in the future, I'll get out a couple of my vinyls and show you some of these Italian covers that I've got, that my dad sort of like gave me.
Yeah.
And I'll show you the Goblin ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because they are vinyls.
Yeah. But it's interesting how that musicalities, I mean, it's a whole different debate, but what is avant-garde music?
Yeah.
Is avant-garde kind of music, really? Or is it just a noise? Is it just a noise?
Yeah.
Let's put
Some
together.
people might turn around and say, "What the hell is avant-garde?" Some other people might turn around and say, "What's haute couture?" And all of this sort of stuff.
It's funny how I always think of Yoko Ono because that song where she's absolutely awful, and people say, "Well, look, there it is, Yoko Ono," and I couldn't listen to an album of that. Who could listen to an album of that? Wailing? You can't. Oh dear.
In certain periods of our lives, right, and I'll say this most sincerely, right, we dismiss things.
Yes,
dismiss things too easily. I didn't for years like opera, country music, folk. When somebody mentioned folk to me, I'd turn around and say, "Well, it's always a boat that's leaving Portsmouth, never to return, or something," right? Totally stereotypical thing to say without knowing what you're talking about.
That's right.
and it's things like the old Grey Whistle Test and all of this sort of stuff that sort of like introduced me to bands that I'd have never have heard of.
Yeah. Well, do you know
And I would go, oh, do you know what? I like that. That sounds like something that I heard that I like, actually.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that they came out with something similar. Now I want to know what other tracks they've done. And then that introduced me to other things. And it just goes on and on and on. One thing leads to another.
It does.
It's like that old game, the seven you mentioned 2 artists and there are 7 things that join them up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That old game that you used to play when you got pissed or something at a party or something.
Yeah, that's it. You can always do that. Yeah.
Separated at birth type thing.
Yeah.
7 things that are separate and say, oh look, they reckon, they were in this film together, which then leads to this actor that knows this person that is married to the sister of this one, and you go, oh shit, yeah, look at that. Separate 7 degrees of separation or something. Well, I think it was called.
That's right,
it was, so anyway, I'm just saying, sometimes you've got to go back on yourself and go, I'm going to give something a chance. And I did that a couple of years ago with AC/DC and a few other bands. And I turned around and said, do you know what? Yeah, there's some really good tracks.
Yeah.
To the point where I actually bought 10 albums in a tin set, right?
Yeah.
And I actually got through about 4 of the albums before I sort of like think other things in life sort of like took over. But yeah, I mean, never dismiss something, and if you do, give it another chance. I know that you've tried 2001 several times, you've tried Rocky several times, but you should
like with music, it's sometimes you need something a bit more mainstream to get you into it. I got into listening to more to folk music when I heard Fairport Convention. Fairport Convention were made up of all folk musicians, very talented musicians, but they combined sort of their own writing with traditional folk music.
Yeah.
Once you started getting into it, you said, oh yeah, I understand that. And then there's me thinking, well, I'm interested in history, and I started doing a bit of research and then finding where all these folk songs came from. It became sort of really interesting.
It's a very big thing, but you should know this. I come from Oxfordshire, don't you?
Yeah.
And you'll know that there's villages around here. There's one called Croppedy.
Oh,
you might know where I'm coming from with this.
Yeah.
Every year they have Fairport Convention.
Yeah.
And that's where all of the skiffle bands and all of this all go in the summer. And there's a field up at Great Bourton, right? I can Croppedy right now. I can see it. I mean, but because my gran lived in a place called Little Bourton, right near Great Bourton, she'd get tickets for free because you were going to make a lot of noise, and there was going to be a lot of people that were going to be coming to these fields. I used to be able to go to that convention every year, because my nan lived until she moved away, of course. But yeah. I got a greater appreciation. It got me into Mike Oldfield and a lot of other stuff, right? So
another band, Steel Eye Span. Steel Eye Span. But they were folk rock, but had a lot of folk roots. The singers like Maddie Pryor were traditional folk singers as well.
Yeah.
So you get all that. You learn. It's just you go in a bit deeper and deeper, and you just end up. Like in all sorts. It's like opera style of music. I thought, oh, I really don't like opera style. But I started listening to Mozart and Mozart chorals, some of the stuff that he did. I thought, wow, he's done opera as well. And then you realize some of these tunes are really excellent tunes. And these are from operas. Sometimes, I think with opera, you sometimes need excerpts from operas. I think sometimes it's too long, it depends how you can do it. But like with Mozart, if you get some excerpts from his operas, you realize there's some really good tunes.
Watch Amadeus. Understand he did a lot. Understand he did a lot of chamber music, and then he expanded into operas.
Yeah.
And that's because those were becoming really popular in the
That's it. People forget
in,
that that was popular stuff, wasn't it?
in the
Opera.
100 years in the
Yeah.
100-year period that he was
Yeah.
in. That operas were telling stories,
That's
and
right. Yeah.
so basically, it was a way of doing a play with music, but the
Yes.
music actually was the strong focal point of it
Yeah.
all. So you sort of learn that by watching Amadeus, and then you start going, "Oh, actually, that was all right listening to that."
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you start getting a bit. I wouldn't say that you'll love it. I mean,
No.
I hated it for years. I thought, "What's this wailing crap?" Jesus Christ!
But you change as you get
But you
older. You
change
change.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, some of these really long operas we might
Yeah,
struggle with. I don't know. It might be too much, but you know, the popular bits. It's like having a greatest hits. I know there'll be people be horrified, Puritan, and saying, "Oh, you can't. You've got to watch the whole thing and what have you." But sometimes you have to start somewhere to appreciate it.
yeah.
Again, like the best tunes out of operas.
I mean, I still can't watch a lot of dance stuff like Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy and all of this sort of stuff. I like the music, and I just
Oh
can't.
yeah, Tchaikovsky.
I switch off when I see a load of women dancing
Well, yeah,
and
I thought that.
blokes in their strides
Yeah,
and lifting people up, all
yeah.
that.
But I started to understand it a bit more. I think again, I didn't ballet seems about as a weird thing that I wouldn't be interested in. But if you start to look behind it a bit more about what they're trying to do and express, you can get past it, and appreciate it. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'll tell you what, there was a time for a year, and it wasn't that long ago, right? This is just slightly off topic a little
Yeah,
bit. That I started to think about the Jolson story again, right?
yeah,
Now, right at the beginning, you saw the early Jolson, and he was a Jew, and he was standing up, and his voice was like velvet, and a guy called Steve Martin was playing the cello and getting the people. And I started going, do you know what? I remember as a child watching that BBC Two program. You know where I'm coming from, don't you? Where they do old music hall,
Oh,
burlesque and all
the
that
good
sort of stuff.
old days.
The good old days, yeah.
That's it. It was from Leeds, a variety
Yeah, that's
theatre
right.
they did. Yeah,
So, and I then looked for ages on YouTube for old episodes of the good old days, and watching Barbara Windsor
yeah,
doing this
yeah.
stuff
Well,
and
loads
all of
of
this,
people. Yeah,
and you get into a theme of something, and you
yeah,
go, oh. So I started listening to music like that tune in the Jolson story, the War Bash, right?
yeah,
And then you find out later on that that's now a national anthem of one of their states.
yeah, yeah,
And you listen to the words and you go, oh wow, it's about a guy that goes back, and he he's thinking about how he loved to smell the pollen in the air and all of this, and he went to see his love and asked her to marry him, and she turned him down, and he died, and all of this sort of stuff. And you're going, bloody hell, it's a powerful piece. And then you find out it was made in 1890 something or other.
yeah,
And you go, wow,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
And this was music that you'd buy on really old records, that
yeah,
crackly stuff that you could
yeah,
hardly hear anymore.
yeah,
So yeah, I've gone back to music that I thought I'd never,
yeah.
ever,
I agree, yeah.
ever understand like
I
one.
think it's when you're younger, you have a certain attitude, which is fine. It's how you develop anyhow, and you think, well, I'm not. It's parents like that music. I'm not gonna like that, But
Oh
you
well,
develop, and they do have an influence because they're playing their records. My dad might be playing Glenn Miller, and be
yeah,
playing Frank Sinatra. So even all that has an influence on you. it does go into you, you know. And
I've just moved my
never
chair away, but I don't know if you can see that over there. But that's my keyboard.
Oh right, yeah.
I've got a Tyros keyboard, and every time I listen to something, I then download the sheet music and then I turn it into a MIDI and play it on there, and then I can watch the stave, you know, and the music go by, and you can actually train your hands because you can actually it's a very powerful piece of kit, but basically it's got a liquid crystal display on it, and it won't allow you to move on with the music until you hit the right note. So you can choose one channel of the music, say the keyboard piece, or say the cello piece, or whatever, and it's like a bouncing ball karaoke.
Yeah,
and it's playing the music, and it stops until you hit the right note at the right time and the right key and the right note, right? And it's really good. I learned to play things like Annie's song. That way.
Yeah,
you know? It's really good. Anyway, I'll put that back now.
I must admit, I find it difficult when they say about keys, and I don't know. I can't. I like music a lot, but I'm not technical on it. I can't hear key changes. I can't hear the reason why things are, and that's why I'll probably never be able to play an instrument because I haven't got that ability. I just hear music that I like or don't like, and that's it. But there's a lot more to it. It's a very technical stuff, but it's technical. But some people are so natural, you know. You see them, don't you? And they just get a piano. They can hear a tune and then immediately start playing it. You know, that they've never heard before.
Yeah,
but that shows the ears know what that's music. That's real magic. I wish I had that. But anyhow. Let's carry on. We've got here down something. I think my text is hidden again. No, it's honestly, we can see your text.
It's all right. I've been watching this, by the way. It's all answered later on, so don't worry.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I think Temple of Doom is very funny, Mr. Jones.
that little kidding sod.
And Temple of Doom is okay, not great. Not bad. Don't Sub Gaming says, yeah, it isn't bad, and it's, you know, it's because it's just so good, and it just seemed a bit of a disappointment after the first one. I think that's it. But sometimes if you look at it, you can think, well, it isn't bad. It isn't terrible.
It isn't. This is why I was saying it's not that I hate the film. It's just that there are things in it that irritate me. In fact, there was a point where I was watching that film, and then I'd go to this the video rental store, and I'd get Quatermass, not Quaterman, was it? Well, I forgot what it's called now. What's his name?
Which one?
Alan Quatermain or something like that. It was an Indiana Jones ripoff.
Oh right, yeah.
And I'd watch TV programs like Tales of the Gold Monkey and all.
Oh yeah.
And I'd go, that's I'm having a much better time watching that than I am watching Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
And it was only when The Last Crusade came out that I got into Indiana Jones again, because the second one was just so jarring for me with the setting, and I suppose it was also one of those archaeological myths that I didn't get, where I understood the Ark of the Covenant, and I understood the Crusade. So looking for, even now I can't think of it. Was it Indian Gems or something?
Yeah.
You know, something or other with tribes going around, you know, and all of this sort of stuff. I was going, don't get it.
No.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, there we are. It was Alan Quatermain. James just corrected me. So I was right. I just couldn't quite remember what it was. But I enjoyed that more than I did Temple of Doom. That's all I got to say.
Just hold on.
Oh, all right. Well, he's buggered off. Look, left me holding the bloody strings again. I can't control what he was going to bring up the words for. So,
right, thank you. Yeah. Bye.
What's that? Is that a delivery by Tony Yorks?
No. There you are.
He did a 1 hour delivery.
Sorry.
He found some wood to put. He put stuff in the box that quick. He got it over to you.
That was quick. Yeah.
No, everybody's saying it's probably a takeaway for your son.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we've got Si saying, "You call him Dr. Jones, lady." There you are. And then we've got, here he is, Muckman Movies. Good evening, Bert and Ernie. Oh, well, thank you.
I do like it when Jamie turns up.
And then Laugh Out Loud, Dose of Gaming. And then Muckman Movies, Evening Si and Bunny. All right, okay. And then hi, Jamie, Si says. And Don't Sub Gaming. Muckman Movies, can you see my chat? I think we can. Everything's there. I'm still jealous over Caroline Munro. Yeah, I know that was a great video seeing Muckman there with Caroline Munro.
Yeah.
She was wonderful. I have to admit, she was really nice. She was so nice.
I've forgotten the actress's name, but she was nice as well. It was the lady in Farscape, the one who was dressed up in all the blue stuff. Forgot.
Yeah. Oh, crikey. I'm not.
Anyway,
yeah.
She was at a Comic Con in my hometown.
Yeah.
And she turned up. And I actually had because the arranger of the whole Comic Con event, local comic store, which I'd been going into years, I actually went to dinner with her. She makes soap, She makes soap and sells it at Comic Con. She was lovely. Got a picture of me with her, and I bought some soap off of her. And she signed my Blu-ray.
Oh, yeah.
From lovely lady. I tell you what, some of them are just so nice.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I went to the Zap event a couple of years back. This is a computer event. Yeah. I met one of my heroes called Rob Hubbard. He wrote all the music in the Commodore 64 days.
Yeah.
He was selling his book. And again, I was just about to leave the event, and he went into the bar where it was, and he sat right next to me. And I was running around for him, just saying, "Oh, I'll go and get this stuff for you," all of that sort of stuff. He thanked me for it, and then we had a chat about John Williams. And we had a chat for half an hour. We were talking. He said, "So what?" He said, "What do you think is one of John Williams's underrated scores?" And I said, "Well, I tell you what, not many people recognize the music to the film The River, which has got Mel Gibson and Sidney Spacek in it." And he went, "That's one of my favorites." And I said, "Yeah, but how many people talk about that? They're always talking about Star Wars and Schindler's List and Jurassic Park." And that. He said, "Name another one then." And I said, "Well, I know that he used to be part of the swing band, and I think he did the music to Guide to the Married Man." He went, "He did?"
Yeah.
And I went, "Yeah, his name was Johnny Williams then."
Yeah.
Right. And he went, "No," he said, you do know your stuff, don't you?"
Oh.
And I said, "Thanks very much for the compliment, but it's just, I tell you what, it all comes from me being sort of ridiculed at school, because where everybody else was listening to I don't know, Adamant and Bad Manners and all of that sort of music, I was listening to film score music." And he said, "Never be embarrassed by the music that you like."
Yeah, that's true.
And I said, "Well, I said, I wish you would have been around when I was at school, because I was just picked on for the stuff I was listening to." I'd turn around and say, "Isn't the theme to Alvida Zane Pet and Minder and that Monkey and all of this sort of stuff great?" And they'd be going, "You listening to that crappy stuff?" You know, because I was turning around and saying the music to the Adventures of Robinson Crusoe, right, was one of my favorite tracks, and they were all listening to, you know, I don't know, you know, like I say, Bad Manners and all of this sort of stuff. I
Yeah.
like that music as well. You know, Toya Wilcox and all of that sort of stuff from that period. You can tell I'm talking about 1980, 81 here.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just that people were cruel when you went to the secondary school. You know,
Yeah.
if you were fat, they picked on you, and then they'd find anything that they can add to that. And if you then found out from you that you were listening to this type of music, they'd add that into it, and it
Yeah.
just went on and on and on. So, you know, but
Yeah.
I'm jealous as well. Caroline Munro. You know,
Definitely.
I bet he put his arm around her as well, the bastard.
Anyhow, he says here, she was lovely. There you are. And then Rocket Bunny says, I've watched a few films since last week for a change, some by choice, some not. Carry On Abroad, Independence Day, and Doom the Movie. All very unsophisticated, I know that, for this channel, but I enjoy.
Yeah, Independence Day was on 2 days ago on ITV3 or something, you know.
Yeah, but enjoy. Yeah, that's what he said.
And the carry-ons were all over the ITV network.
They always are, though. They're never off, are they?
No.
And then Don't Sub Gaming says Rocket Bunny, Carry On Abroad is one of the best, isn't it? Oh, some great films, yeah.
Funny.
And they're all fun movies, Rocket. They are. Yeah, and Tony asks, good evening, Ian, Del, and chat. Good evening, Tony. You probably heard the insults as usual, but there you are, Tony. Thank you for joining us. And then Rocket Bunny, hey, Muckman and Tony. And then Tony says, hi, Side. Tony says, hi, Rocket. And then Dope Sub Gaming, hi, Tony Yorks. You're probably the only person to see this. Oh, no, I don't think so.
That's changed. You'll see later on.
Don't sub, I can see your messages, but don't think the others can. Add my settings for chat to include possible spam. Yeah. Hi, Tony. My movie says. Hi, Jamie. Tony says. And then we've got Sai saying, Del, do you know that Project Hail Mary is on certain online services?
I did.
Oh.
But I want to see it at the pictures. I was hoping that my sister might be able to cover for me this weekend.
Oh.
She hasn't said no. So I wanted to see it in the pictures, but if I can't get to see it, then I know that after this weekend there'll be no chance. So I will then look at the online services. But it's one of those films that I really, 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 really want to go to the pictures.
Yeah.
And see.
Yeah.
But yes, I did know it was on certain online services. Yes. Thank you, though, for letting the world know.
Yeah. No,
because other people might not be aware, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait to see it.
That's the nice thing about this group. We read it out and it tells other people who might also be in the same boat as me that they can probably catch it.
Yeah.
So.
Tony Oaks thanks. I've been going on and on. No one replied. I don't know why. They have muted me. I don't want to join in with the fun. Don't worry, you will. And then only one tracked 24 hours. Oh. And then Rocket Bunny, I'll wait for the 4K Hail Mary before watching it. Yeah. I don't just changed my chat settings. I can see you now. Good, Jamie. Hello, Muckman Movies. Nice to see you. I don't sub. I've just changed my settings like Muckman. Oh, this is it then.
So I've given a little bit of an answer a bit later on, which is I think this is what's happened. When YouTube changed their chat engine, they usually default everybody's accounts to a filter. that says don't show top chat or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it then stops somebody that's never done anything wrong, and you can't see them.
Yeah.
And so they put this filter on, and it's for everybody, and you have to actually go into your own settings to turn it off, and then suddenly you can see people, because Steve's in the same boat. This is Steve still playing games, right? He actually created another account and he still couldn't be seen. And I explained to him, yeah, but if you created another account off of your main account, it will still be exactly the same problem. Because if you went into one chat room and you put in a web link to something, right? It doesn't even have to be this chat. It could be another live channel that you went to. YouTube probably thinks that's spam. And instantly, because they've got the filter on now for spamming, you then can't see people that have never done anything wrong. Other people have to turn it off for you to see it. It's like that stupid thing they enabled with the crown, you know, the one that says you're the top 5. I instantly opted out.
Yeah.
But they opted me in without asking me.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah. As Tony says, nobody will have blocked you, don't sub. There are several people unable to comment, and there's no reason that we can find for it. But hopefully now we will. Don't sub says Star Wars was great, wasn't it? I remember queuing around the cinemas to get in. Yeah, those were the days, people queuing to see a film.
Yeah.
Amazing. I don't think you get that as much nowadays.
Yeah, and for a good 4 or 5 months.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. The thing is, these films continued on, and people were still queuing, weren't they, week after week?
Well, I remember there was local reports. You know how central. You know how ITV was split up into regions like Central and 80. You know, and Tyne Tees and all of that sort of stuff. They'd all do these local reports, and they'd say, oh, how many times? They'd go up to the little boys and say, how many times have you seen it? Say, oh, I've seen it 7 times. You went, seen it 7 times. Bloody hell. You know, and I remember all of those sort of reports. I mean, I myself, because we used to have long summer holidays.
Yeah.
I'd go with my mate.
There were long
the next week, and I'd go by myself, and then the following week there'd be my cousin might turn up, and we'd go together and watch it again. And all of a sudden, by the time I get back to school, I'd seen it 8 times or something.
Yeah.
You know? And somebody would be there and say, "Oh, I saw it 14 times." And I'd say, "Yeah, well, you're rich, ain't you? I couldn't afford 14 times, you know." You know what I mean? That's how it was, you know, and word of mouth, and then there was all the toys, and there was the comics, and
everything. It was a big phenomenon. It was.
Really was.
Yeah. And then we've got Subgain says, hello, Cyropson, nice to see you. And Deboy, we believe it is to do with YouTube thinking a comment is spam. So you have to go to all chat as YouTube have made the standard setting filtered. So you've explained that. I'm
just thinking that's what it is.
Yeah. Where are these channel settings to include spam, guys? I can't see them in my chat settings for this channel. He solves this, does he? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Where it says top chat rocket.
Yeah, I put the caps lock on by mistake.
Yeah. I've had American Graffiti on Steelbook for years. They've still not watched it. Ooh. You should watch it, lad. It's funny. It's brilliant.
You know, it was Alex Cox again that introduced me to American Graffiti.
Really good. You know, brilliant. Always well worth a watch.
So many films I got from Alex Cox. You know, that BBC Two show was just amazing. I loved it. I watched so many, you know, like there was Phase 4 and all of that I got from the Andromeda Strain and everything was from there.
Tony says Rocket on a mobile, it's at the top of the chat.
Top of the chat, yeah.
Then Dope Sub says, I don't know why it thinks I'm a spammer. I should be rather offended. At the top right of the crown, select that, then all the messages. Oh, I'm glad that people are helping out here. That's it. On mine, it's 2 lines with dots on. Yeah.
By the way, that's called that's called a burger, by the way, in technical terms.
Burger. But that's good. At least he sorted it out. Yeah, brilliant. And then I think Deboy deleted my first comment.
If I had the power to do it, I would have. Little sod.
And then Wee Bob saying, "Hi all, hello."
Now
Bob.
you look at that picture. Go back a minute. You look at that picture, right? He did that.
Did he? Oh,
he's a digital artist.
That's very good. Yeah,
he is brilliant.
Yeah.
That's why I keep saying in my blog. Go to Wee Bob Art. It's a brilliant channel. He introduced me to a program called Rebella, and he said it was on sale. I bought that. I'm still useless at drawing, but I learned so much. He'll tell you about light, shade, all sorts of stuff. You know, how canvas works, how you can get the smeary effect. You know, do you remember those old times, you know, on ITV where there's a bloke and he'd show you how to make trees, and he'd get this brush and do this and put a little bit of white on here, look, and suddenly it looked like you were looking at a forest. How the bloody hell did he do that in half an hour? I could have been there for about 6 hours and I still wouldn't get it looking like that. I can't even get the colours right painting our wall, let alone trying to do a forest scene or a lake scene or something. You know what I mean?
Right. So Sai says, hi, Wee Bob. And then Don't Sub says, hello, Wee Bob. And Rocket Bush says, hi, Don't Sub Gaming. Tony Oaks, that's normal, Jamie. Right. Don't Sub says, hello, Rocket Bunny 71. Nice to see you. And Carry On Abroad is my probably my favorite Carry On. Excellent.
Carry On Cab is mine.
And then Muckman Movies have a good laugh. And then Muckman says, evening, Bob. And Bob says, hi, Muckman. And then Sai says, for me, The Empire Strikes Back is in my top 5 of all time. Wow, that is high praise. For me, it's the greatest sequel of all time.
Wow.
Is it the greatest sequel? Has anybody got any other ideas of what is the greatest sequel? But I understand what you're saying there. Yeah.
It definitely was at the time. I don't know whether I would think of it now, but I mean, it's a strong one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, the very nature of the fact that I was getting older and it went darker. And maybe it's because I'm susceptible to shock endings like Planet of the Apes and all of that sort of stuff that made me go, oh wow, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's lost a bit of that sort of kid-friendly kind of aspects to it, and that's why
his bloody hand is chopped off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he's the hero, isn't he? He's the hero. Gets his hand chopped off.
And you've got you've got Han Solo, who's bloody trapped in bloody ice with a heart maker that tells you he's still alive. And
I mean, when you left the cinema after seeing that, you thought, God, that's a bit depressing, isn't it? Because you think of the end of the first Star Wars film when everybody's waving and everybody's together, and it all looks really good. And
it's a film that I think is mostly about deceit.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, Han Solo's 2 times. Luke Skywalker is knocked bandy by not understanding that he was never told who his father was. You know, and yet Ben Kenobi did it. It's all about all these people. They've lied to me. Lied to me.
Yeah.
You know, I thought they were my friend. They're not my friends. Look what they've bloody done.
Yeah.
It's about deceit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And and it was at a time where life lessons I was learning.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was a very powerful film for me to see.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Right. And then we've got Rocketman saying, "Hey, we Bob," and then Tony says, "Don't sub." I wonder if it's due to your username. Maybe you're trying to get people to stop subscribing. YouTube AI is weird. Yeah.
But it doesn't answer why my friend Steve still plays games. What's in there that stops him from being able to? Like I said, it could be anything.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you put hello and you hit the return button 3 times and it puts hello 3 times, that's enough for him to think you're spamming. You see what I mean? So if you put if you did 3 consecutive return entries or something, in a chat, in another chat, not now, not in here, but somewhere else, that could be all it was. I think it's awful. I think it's awful that YouTube change settings and don't ask you to opt out or anything. They don't tell you these things. They just put, we've changed our terms and conditions. I've never seen one that says we've upgraded and by the way, all these changes have been made.
No, they don't.
They just instantly set that filter on.
That's it. You're right. They're not very good at communicating.
You can't really argue though, because YouTube has given me a voice. It's given you a voice, Ian, for nothing, for absolutely zero.
For me, it's so much better than TikTok. I would never be on TikTok permanently. I don't understand TikTok at all. YouTube is much better. And as you say, you can be more creative to me. You can have your own channel like this. And that's great. Isn't it great that you've got your own channel? This is your channel. You've created it yourself. And that's good. It feels good. I like it for that. And
it's a very, very powerful medium.
Yeah.
And one that's given to us for free. And the only downside is adverts and things like that.
Yeah, but still,
at the end of the day,
it
doesn't cost you nothing.
Yeah. And I love it. I do, and I watch other people's channels like you do, and watch other videos and surprise videos. Sometimes come up, and it's just fascinating. Right. And then Don't Sub says Empire Strikes Back is my favorite Star Wars film.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people's favorite Star Wars film, so Aliens is the best sequel of all time in my eyes. I've heard people say that as well.
Yeah.
And then Tony says, "Hi, Bob." And then Don't Sub Gay, Tony, I never thought of that. Jeepers. How old are you? Jamie, I knew you would say that. And then Don't Sub says, I'm going to see if I can change my name. Ah, right. Wow, that's fine now, Bob says. I don't have to watch Star Wars. Now it has been ruined.
Yeah, because you went and told everybody that Darth Vader was his, and I said, hang on, spoilers.
He hasn't ruined it. I don't think he's ruined it. I thought, God, how many years was 1977, 1980? That's a hell of a long time ago.
Yeah, but
it's a cultural phenomenon. Blooming heck, it's been talked about and talked about it. I've heard people discussing it on TV.
Yeah, but Stan Lee famously said, I have to keep repeating myself because at some point, this comic that they're about to buy is going to be the first comic they've ever had, and they won't understand who this character is. It doesn't matter you've read it for 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
So you could turn around and say about I don't know, Gone with the Wind or something, right? And just because it's been out for all those years, other people might not have seen it, heard about it.
I agree on that. But sometimes Star Wars is much more than, it's a cultural phenomenon. It's got a lot behind it, and that's why it's been discussed more. Where there's a lot of films that I might like years and years ago that haven't got that same impact.
Yeah, so cultural phenomenon. You could say Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, Wizard of
I mean,
Oz.
everybody's seen it,
It
though,
is
doesn't it?
Wizard of Oz. You definitely. There's quite a lot of films. Lawrence of Arabia. There you
Yeah.
are. You could, the film gives it away at the end, at the beginning. What happens to him? The very first opening of Lawrence of Arabia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it looks back. It's a film that looks back.
It is.
Yeah.
That I'm giving it away here. The motorbike accident,
yeah,
which is what it is a true thing.
So you sit down in the cinema, you don't know anything about the character, so you don't know anything. You see that straight away, and you think, "Oh, crikey," But it works. It doesn't matter. It works. It's not a spoiler, is it?
No.
It's not a spoiler at all. So you can do that. Right. And then Jamie says, anyone seen that Undertone film? I know it's been mentioned. It's getting good reviews. Supposed to be very unsettling and scary. I like the sound of it. I've heard people talk about it, but I haven't. No, obviously I've not seen it. No, but it might be right up my street. That. I fancy watching that, Jamie. The trailer looks creepy. Yes, I says that. I do. I think that's going to be good.
I haven't seen the trailer.
Yeah, I haven't. I've heard people talking about it already. Rocketman says the reason they changed Jedi from Revenge to Return was that the Revenge is not the Jedi way. Oh, yeah. Hence,
right. Yeah.
And used it for the prequel later, Revenge of the Sith. I get you totally. He's right. He's right. It makes sense.
And I keep forgetting that I've got a book called Industrial Light and Magic, the Magic of Cinema, and it was mentioned in there. I haven't read that book in years, but
that does make sense. It makes sense. Yeah, totally. Yeah. And then, all right, dudes. Hello, Frank. Welcome. And then here we've got the Disney Star Wars trilogy. It made me love the prequel trilogy. Well, that's good. I'm glad you like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what do you think about what do you think about the Star Wars universe as it's developed? Do you think it's gone way away from what Star Wars was about? It's become so adult, hasn't it? I mean, you're not going to get that same appeal to children watching Andor. Not that I must point out, I do actually like Andor. Andor is a good series.
Andor's great.
It is a great series, but it's not aimed at children, is it? The universe is very different.
I don't think children would understand it from the very first two episodes.
There has been some more which I didn't get on with, and I didn't watch properly. There was a funny one that didn't do that well, did it?
But I'll tell you what. This is how I look at it. When it was young, when Star Wars was young, and you only had 3 films and there was nothing else, there was a Christmas special that people don't really get on with, and that people were hungry for something, and the comics were the only way, right?
And the toys then became big, didn't they?
Yeah. As well, but what I'm trying to get at is that apart from some novels that were coming out, the comics had to tell stories before the next film would come out, right?
Yeah.
So I was being weaned into recognizing other things were going on in the Star Wars universe that weren't Han Solo and all of this sort of stuff, right? I was being introduced to characters because the comic books that had the license could go only so far, and they couldn't use the characters all of the time, so they had to write a story that was around it that didn't ruin the lore that George Lucas was writing for his
I
film.
get you. So that you probably know more about this.
Disney come along and do a series, and it's like Andor and all of this sort of stuff. I suppose I'm going, well, that's nothing new to me. Watching something that's not the core players.
Yeah. So weren't they allowed then to do the Star Wars novels? Because now, if you look, you could probably find an absolute stack of Star Wars novels.
It's like Doctor Who.
Yeah. They had to be given a license to do those. Yeah. I thought they would. Yeah.
George Lucas made his money because he licensed everything out and got profits.
Yeah. So they could make all the novels and do everything.
It's just he sort of like had a book that basically said, if somebody is going to have something that's going to bear the Star Wars name, then in every single legal document that comes out, they've got to sign this. They have to pass it by me for everything. You know what I mean?
Because so he would say if things he felt weren't sticking to what Star Wars was about, he could veto the books if he felt they weren't right for Star Wars. That's interesting. Yeah.
And in fact, the fact was he had no money. So George Lucas went to Marvel first. Said, do you want to do the comic adaptation of my film?
Yeah.
If you read that comic, it came out before the film did.
Oh.
Right. Oh. And there were bits in the script that Lucas gave them that isn't in the film when it was finally cut. And you will see that it goes off Tinder, you know, and basically you're going, well, that never happened.
Yeah.
That's because it was changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see, they have to write the story, write the script, you know, a comic book script, should I say, and do the artwork, and it has to be done 3 months before it goes to press.
Yeah.
And you don't know, and you got to remember that America got it first, and then we got it second. But Marvel you'd have been able to have imported the comic books into Britain. So we actually had these comics on the stands called Star Wars, and we didn't understand what the bloody hell it was.
Yeah.
I remember the adverts that said Marvel Treasury Edition, right? The Treasury Editions are huge books. They're like this, incredibly big, right?
Yeah.
And they were 50 pence. I remember that as well. £1, 50, something like that, right? Huge things, right? And there was this Star Wars one. I was interested because I saw a bloke on it and he had this sort of like laser sword, and I thought, yeah, this looks quite good. I'll have that.
That's cool, yeah.
I hadn't got a bloody clue what this Star Wars thing was. You know, had a couple of robots called C3PO, and I was like, that's a weird name for a robot. What the hell's that all about? You know.
And they became stars of the film.
And then, of course, it saved. Actually, Jim Shooter actually turned around and said it saved Marvel. They were going to go bankrupt.
Oh, right.
They bought George Lucas went to Marvel and he sold it to them for a pittance. I mean, they were taking on a film adaptation without knowing whether the film was going to be a success.
Yeah, of course they wouldn't know, would they? No.
And it's like anything. There are certain points in business life where you're going to go under, and some good fortune enables you to go with them for the next 10 years because of the money that you made from that particular thing, because they kept the license for a couple of years, but they were the ones that first got the comic book out of the comic book adaptation of a number one film. Bang. But they did the film adaptation of 2001, and that sunk like a stone. That did. The Wizard of Oz sold. They sold that, but 2001: A Space Oddity, which was drawn by Jack King Kirby, flopped. Nobody bought that. I think it's because nobody understood the bloody film.
Did Spielberg know Lucas at that time? So he probably encouraged him then, probably.
Oh, they knew each other quite well, I think. It was because they went to film school or something, and they sort of or knew of him.
So I suspect he must have encouraged him quite a lot then.
Oh, yeah.
That idea going.
Yeah.
Anyhow, let's have a look. And we've got Si saying, hi, Frank. Tony says, hi, Frank. And then we have got Rocket Bunny. When upgrading my TV, etc. to 4K, I bought all the Star Wars movies to watch again. I've watched the first 3 prequels so far, then Solo and Rogue One. Original, my favorite, is next. Right. Rogue One, I forgot about that. Yeah, Rogue One's pretty good, isn't it?
Solo's not bad, but I like Rogue One better.
Yeah. And then Franco says Star Wars was great until Disney got it. Interesting, yeah. Again, with what has happened to it as a universe.
Some people would turn around and say the Phantom Menace was a huge disappointment and Disney didn't have it then.
No. Well, it was. No, actually, you're right, because I remember Phantom Menace had a hell of a lot of publicity. It was built up in quite a big way. People were really getting hyped about it. And then people went to the cinema and I think came out a bit disappointed. I don't know. It was that thing that
it was the same year as Gladiator, I think, year 2000 or 1999.
Awful character that irritated people.
Jar Jar Binks.
That's
biggest pile of shit.
Everybody
biggest pile of shit that you'll ever come across in your life is that character.
Yeah, you see, that was obviously trying to appeal to kids again, wasn't it? And
along with that Ewoks crap, I was going, what?
Nobody they made some spin-off films, didn't they, of Ewok? Of Ewoks.
There is the Ewok film, yeah.
Yeah, there you are. You must love that. That's a film that you must absolutely love. I can see you watching that.
Marvel came out with a comic of that.
Yeah. I bet you were going, bastards.
Oh, honestly, all I needed was Ewoks selling Colgate, and I'd have my life would have been a murderous event. Just imagine that. Colgate bloody now Ewoks are now endorsing Colgate. Bloody hell, great. Coca-Cola or something.
Yeah.
All I needed.
Kathleen Kennedy killed Han Solo. Oh, right. And then question. Oh, I'm thinking of jacking my job in. Crikey, it's become too stressful and demanding. I don't have a new job to go to, but I want to get out of the industry. Shall I do it?
Now, my recommendation here, Ian, is to just let the conversation continue and then probably interrupt when you want to say something. But it's a very interesting conversation, and I was really enjoying what was being said. So
it's such a big question, and I understand, because I noticed that when you spoke to Caroline Munro, you mentioned it. I spotted that about your job and the stress. Yeah. Is the stress worth your health as well? You have to think about that.
Yeah.
And sometimes health is more important. But then it's what lifestyle. You have to sort of adjust your lifestyle to what, you've got. If you're not going to earn as much money, you might have to cut back on holidays and things like that. That's something you just have to work out. I can't really give you an answer, but those are the kind of questions you have to look at. And serious question. It is a serious question, and I totally understand it.
Yeah, I'll give my answer when you get further down.
I felt you. It's funny because I did notice that when you spoke to Caroline Munro, you just
yeah,
I felt that you had a weariness about you as well. Yeah.
By the way, I've just got to stretch my legs, Ian, for a minute.
Okay.
Because remember, I've been sitting down for a bit.
Yeah, so that's okay. Okay, Bunny says, "What industry are you in?" Muckman, structural engineering consultancy. You see, it sounds a very, very pressurized job. And then Tony says, "Are you thinking of retiring or getting a different job, Jamie?" And then, in the words of Rob Schneider in every Adam Sandler film, You can do it. Right. um, yeah. It's an interesting thing. As you said, Muckman moves only if you have a healthy bank balance to get by on. I did something like that in 2008. Quit my job, and it was a freaking hard struggle for the first 2 years after. It depends. I mean, there are jobs available, but there might not be jobs that you want to do. That's the other problem. But they might give you some freedom and not put as much pressure on you. You know, I mean, it's not something I do, but I know, like when I was younger, but that was different. When you're younger, things are different, and I from school age, when I was about 16, I worked part time when I was at school doing my A levels at Morrison's. And at first, I really enjoyed the job, believe it or not. But then it became a real slog. But I had money, and that money was great. I could do all the things I wanted to do, which was buy lots of records and go to live concerts. And that's how I looked at it. You know, I could just manage to put up with the job that I really hated. But all I would say is, health is important as well. And if you have too much strain, you know, you can get all the money and you could retire, and health problems could get worse, and you're not going to enjoy the retirement. But I don't know. I wouldn't. There are all sorts of things you have to balance in your mind. But I'm looking from my viewpoint now, as I see it. But I'm older, a lot older. As I look at my health, and you know, and you've had some health problems, you have to think of that if things are too much pressurized. But it's deciding what sort of standard of living you want. Sometimes you have to sacrifice things, and then work out other things. I know you enjoy traveling and looking at that. I mean, for me, what I did, I kind of must have understood that something might happen with me. This was my personal thing. When I was a student, I did loads of traveling all over the place, around Europe, everywhere I could think of. I used to go, and I had, you know, my health was really good then. It was all right. I didn't have any problems. It was only then a few years later that I was so glad that I went on that traveling, because at least I had that experience, which now I can't do. You know, I couldn't go abroad anymore. It's just not possible. And so I'm grateful for having those memories of doing that. But I can't really answer your question, but there's all sorts of things to consider, and balancing it out. It's getting the right balance. That's what it's about. But it is a bit drastic quitting your job. But on the other hand, I can understand your frustrations and thinking, well, perhaps there's more to life, and my health might be more important. And it's getting that money and thinking, well, I might have to sacrifice some things, and maybe you're going to have to sacrifice certain holidays, but you still might be able to work out something where you can still go on the holidays. It may be that you don't go on as many holidays. You know, that's the thing. That's how you have to look at it. But I don't know. I don't want to preach or tell you what to do. You sort of have to come to these decisions on your own. So if you're not happy and have the finance and motivation to change, then go for it. Yeah, that's a good point. And let's see what you say. I feel like I need 6 months to decompress and have some time to think what I could do. Potentially selling my art at art and craft fairs. Massive drop in salary, Bug, at least, but I'll be stress free. Now, if you know, if you're a creative person, why not go for it? You know, it might be stress free, and you're going to have a problem with your salary. But I don't know. I'm sure there are ways forward in that, and looking at it. But if that's something you want to go at, I always think be creative. It's one of the great things in life. And sometimes there's a lot more important things in life, like health and that. And rather than being on a treadmill, but as it's your age as well, if you could somehow you could retire early, work that out somehow. I don't know if you've got pensions, if you've got private pensions where you could look at things, maybe getting lump sum money off that. And that might help. You could live on some of that. It would help you until you get your, retirement. I don't know. Just have a think. Just keep thinking and looking. Good luck. I just hope you find the right answer. Everything's going to be a big step. But if you're really unhappy in life and your health becomes an issue, then I think that gives you a lot of answers to what you should do. You only live once, Rocket Bunny says, and that is an attitude to look at. Probably take a part-time job while working on my art. That's it. You see, you've already are thinking ahead. Yeah, you could do like manual job or do something, just while it's going on. You can find something, I'm sure you can find something, I don't know. Even jobs from home, data entry or something, just doing that kind of job. And then working on your art. Why not? I would go for whatever makes you feel is right. Instinctively sometimes. If you're gifted enough, this is what Tony said, if you're gifted enough to be able to produce art, Jamie, maybe you could sell online as well. Living a simple life, if you don't have as much income, is preferable to being constantly stressed, in my opinion. I think that's a very good point. I think that is spot on, really. That's how it is. As I say, with holidays, you could just, if you go on several breaks a year, maybe you have to cut it down to one break a year. It's just finding the right balance and working it out. But that's a good point, what you say, Tony. I think that's a very good point. And then James says, I hate getting up every morning and going to a job I hate. It's crazy, but I used to enjoy it. But now people want information straight away. You sound already, I can feel the stress there, what you're saying it. And James says, I agree, Tony. Yeah. And then Si says, only one film in Tony York Corner this week. There must be a postal strike going on. Yes. I was hoping that I would use one of my catchphrases, that a film that I've ordered that hasn't come. But nobody's mentioned what that phrase is, the accent that I do. But yes, next week I might be able to do it when I'm showing you what's come. And then, well, I can't see how to change my name in YouTube settings, so maybe you cannot. I don't subgaming says, and then Jamie says, Gloria is a fantastic war film. It is, yeah. And Si says, Denzel Washington won a Best Supporting Actor Oscar for Gloria. Why? Did he really? Wow. Brilliant. And Tony says, to be honest, I've bought very little for the last few months. I've plenty to watch or rewatch. Plus, not much I'm bothered about buying. Well, yeah, it can get to that point if you're not bothered. Just watch what you've got and enjoy all that. And then, Frank, did you stay in the same job or do something different? All right. Jimmy, I've not bought anything this month, although HMV have taken payment for The Killer pre-order. They do now, I think, don't they? They straight away take the payment. That's something to watch out everybody on that month pre-orders. Um, Tony says so much that's released these days are reissues, upgrades with stuff added. Yeah, I know what you mean. And I'm not particularly bothered about like posters and art cards. Totally agree. Quite often, I'm happy with a DVD or a standard Blu-ray. I think that I can understand that totally. And especially the prices they charge. Some of the prices and bits of poster and a few art cards. It's a lot of money, you know. And if you just want the film, why not? Just go for that. Economics is important. Yeah. Franco says, "Muck I was a security analyst for over a decade, but the stress and harassment was so punishment. One day, I just quit. I tried to make my hobby into a job. First 2 years were very hard, but then things picked up, and now I'm so much happier and stress free. That's a great, Frank. That is absolutely. You stuck with it, and it was difficult, but you did it, and I think that's great. It is you don't want all this thing. I keep saying it, but it's not good for people's health. Too much stress, too much worrying about everything. You don't need it. Nobody needs it. And then James says, "What do you do now?" And James says, "I might just because a house husband and let the missus become the breadwinner." Well, why not? There's nothing wrong in that. No. Nothing wrong at all. And then Frank says, I'm a writer and so much happier. If you have the money in the bank to back you up, then I say do it. You will regret it if you don't. They're really good words, And then my movie says, Ian, I have the Reptile, but I've not watched it yet. I did watch Oliver Reed in Paranoia at the weekend. Really enjoyed it. Well, you would do. It was a great film, and of course, it's Oliver Reed, who is a fantastic actor. Have you seen the Reptile and Paranoiac?
Yeah,
brilliant. Oliver Reed, fantastic. And then Frank, great to hear you're enjoying your job. What do you write? And then Frank says, Thunderbirds. Do you know Jerry Anderson hated the John puppet so much, so that's why he was almost up in the space station out of view. Oh, I didn't know that.
Jerry Anderson, by the way, would have been 97 yesterday.
Wow. Yeah. Tony says
it was Jerry Anderson Day yesterday.
Yeah. He says, "Oh yeah, I think Ray Barrett. Yeah, that he was an Australian, and yeah, at least I've seen him in some Australian films. Yeah, definitely, he was. He's interesting in that part. He was interesting in Reptile." Frank said, Muckman movies, mostly technical documents. Yes, I know it sounds boring, but it's very relaxing. Like, well, if that is what you do, you're good at that. Because do you know something? Writing technical documents is quite a skill. It's quite a skill to do that, So you must have quite a bit of talent to be able to do that. I think it's quite a skill to get things right because it's so easy. You've got to be precise in your language, and I think it's a great skill to have. And then he's laughing at that. I always get the Reptile mixed up with the Gorgon. Of course, yeah, the Gorgon. That's another. I may be looking at that one as well. Yeah. And then. James says, at least you're not stressed. I watched something other week that said stress can shave 15 years off your life, which is why I'm seriously considering jacking it in. I totally understand. I mean, what to say, health is important. Dopes Up Gaming. She was Servalan in Blake's 7-1. Yes, she was. Very evil, but very sexy. Yes, that's very true. Um, Tony says, Jamie, just normal living is so stressful these days with world affairs, etc. So you can get rid of a job related stress. It sounds a very good idea. Yeah, yeah. I think if it does cause you issues, then yeah. Jamie, you need to avoid stress. Si says it here. I've just been diagnosed with hypertension. Yeah, so I'm trying to avoid anything that puts my heart rate up at the moment. There you are. I think that says a lot as well. Um, cheers, guys. I think I need to take that tough decision, even if it means a hit on the bank balance. Yeah. You'll get it right. You'll know.
You'll probably notice that I've gone quiet while you've been reading all of that out.
Yeah.
It's a very touchy subject to me.
Well, it's a personal subject for you. It is personal for you.
Yeah. I've been under a lot of stress, and I've not enjoyed my job. Anybody that sort of like has looked at my blogs know that I was a really happy sort of like, well, as happy as you could be when I was working for the probation service, but when I was tooping across, I didn't. I only started my YouTube channel because a friend of mine encouraged me, that he thought that in one way you're doing a legacy, in another way you're venting at a camera that other people might also get the benefit of your experiences. And that was the whole point of it. And what you have to understand is that YouTube is a very finicky place. And when it comes to hypertension, I've been hypertensive since I was 20, and I'm in my 50s now. So when you consider that somebody will turn around and say, "Oh, I watched this the other day and found out 15 years I've had a heart attack, I've got stents, I've got things going on with my mum, I could be out of a job at any moment because of caring if work is not going in the right way. I could lose this house when my mum goes." All sorts of stuff means that I'm pinned and tied in. And the whole point of YouTube was to give me an outlet to talk about the hobbies that I like to do. But then there are people that want to make you feel bad about your hobbies. And I just wish, sometimes that those people would understand that I haven't hurt anybody. I haven't done anything wrong, but there are certain things that I now think twice about putting up or saying, because they've made me think badly on myself. And then I've and my YouTube that was supposed to relieve my stress has now added another stress to me, and made me think, should I go? Is there any point in me doing this anymore? And it's people like you and people in this room that have made me continue, because I've just felt, why should I be pushed away by people that just haven't understood? Maybe I've always looked at myself as being the problem. So if somebody says something, I've usually gone, I've not explained it right. Can't have explained it right, because if this person says this, then they must think badly, so badly that they need to say something about it. And then I've had to go into a conversation about it the next week to say, no, this is not this, it's a diary, and I'm saying about my thoughts or whatever. And yet, if people don't watch that and they tune in 2 weeks later and you haven't mentioned it again, they go, "Oh, you're just talking the same crap again," and they put horrible things down. And like I say, I've had heart attacks, I've got things going on with my mum, and it seems very much they just want to pile more of that on me. if somebody doesn't like something, don't watch it or something. It's why I kept sort of like saying that. But this isn't a go at anybody in this room. I'm saying this for people that might watch this on a rerun, say, that's never been in this room. Because I don't know of anybody in this room that would think these things of me. I'm a nice person, and I always think that everybody has got the nicest intentions. And people, I think, understand me in here, but there are people out there in this world that just want to pile shit on top of shit, and they just and they find great pleasure in it.
Mm.
I've never understood it. You know, a comment comes in. No word of a lie. A comment came in on one of my videos. 5 minutes later, 9 dislikes. This person must have had 9 accounts. There could never have been, in 5 minutes, somebody do 9 dislikes. Poof, like that. They must have just gone in and created and gone bots, you know, like this. Why? There was nothing in it. It was about my mum saying that she'd just gone into hospital. What did I put in my about my a report about my mum that caused people to go and do that? It's nasty, and it makes you, you know, it makes me think I can't put stuff out because it's going to be scrutinized. It's made me bring out less stuff because they've made me so nervous that I don't do it. And these are the things that I usually keep to myself. But when I was reading about this, and I wanted to give my full support to Muckman, is I wanted for me to just turn around and say, stress. Thing I know about stress, it's a double-edged sword. It can drive you and it can kill you. Never get to the point where it will kill you. It can be a driving force. It's like, I've got to get this done, and you could be so influenced by it and so in the moment that you get something done, and then when somebody comes along and they say that's good work, you go, oh, thank God, all of that was great. But if it's pile on shit on top of shit on top of shit on top of shit, it will kill you. It's what happened to me. I couldn't understand at one part in my life why I was being dismissed, you know, and then things were going on with my mum, and stuff was not going right at work, and all of this sort of stuff, and then to the point where I had a heart attack. You know, I was in a bad way anyway, but it was the thing that pushed me over the cliff. So, my message to Muckman is, matey, I've seen your art. You sent me something on my birthday or for Christmas. Gorgeous artwork. If you can do it, matey. And I tell you what, when it comes to your health, that's the point where you turn around and say, sod it all, just do it. Because your health, well, what's the point in getting to your pension? You want to get to your pension, don't you? You want to get to your pension. If this job is going to kill you, and it possibly could, forget it. Don't do it. And that's that. You know, you then adapt your life around what's going to keep you healthy, and cut back on things, you know, and all that sort of stuff. Which, you know, anybody that sort of like seen me knows that I used to buy DVDs and Blu-rays up to here. Now it's one. You know what I mean? You've got to do it because, you know, the stress of it. You know, I've suddenly then got to realize that the next month I've got to work this much harder for me to get the money back for all this stuff that I've just bought. It's that sort of thing, you know, that piles up on you. So, I could say I could spend the next hour talking about health, stress, all of that sort of stuff. All I want to say out there is, anybody that's in this room, you know, I'm not talking about you guys. I know that you don't think those things, but these are the things that go through in my life. And I tell you now, I think for a good 2 days about whether after I've recorded something, whether I'm going to put something out now, because the people cause me grief. And the trouble is, if I mention it, it causes them to spite even more. If they were watching this now, they'd probably be all over me now, going down my channel, dislike, right? To the point where I've told you, Ian, before I came on here, I said, I don't give a shit about them anymore.
Yeah.
All they want to do is just ruin my life. People, and what can I say about it anymore, other than I'm not going to be scared anymore.
No.
I've got to now do what I think is right.
Yes.
It's just, it does hurt when you're a proud and person with pride. Somebody comes along who hasn't even watched a damn thing, just goes like this. You just think to yourself, what was the worth of it? Because you forget that when that's out there and people do that, you forget the reason why you did it in the first place, which is you enjoyed doing it.
Yeah.
and you forget that, and the very numbers that you see in your face make you forget that as well a week down the line, until somebody points out and says, I actually liked it. I want you to do more of it.
Yeah.
You go, do you know what? I'm doing it for you. I should forget about that bastard.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So that's all I wanted to say about it. And I'm just saying, Jamie, you know full well I've got your back on this. And as far as I'm concerned, if you start talking about health, leave. And if health is not the issue, and you see a light where things might turn around, stay. To get some more of that pension money. But when it comes to your health is more important. I keep telling work now, sorry, I've got to go and do something for my mum. I'm leaving this meeting. I've got to. Something's happened. And if they come round to me and talk to me in a day's time and say you can't do things like that, I'll turn around and say, yours then.
Yeah.
Because I tell you what, my mum's more important.
You said it. Yeah. That's right.
If you don't understand that point, then you're not a caring person. You're just a numbers person. In fact, you probably don't even know me. You just think of me as employee number 27654.
Yeah.
So sod you.
Yeah, I think, Jamie, you kind of know what you want to do yourself, and hopefully listening to Deboy there has given you an even more powerful reason.
Well, Tony's made a right point of it. He's turned around and said maybe they'll tire of it. 2 years down the line, they haven't tired of it yet.
No.
I must have offended something real bad. But there you go.
But I say this, and it's something I always admire people who are creative, because to be creative, you're putting yourself into something, no matter what it is, no matter how big or small. And we should encourage that. We should applaud it. People should not be negative. If somebody's trying to do something that they enjoy and is creative, we should support them. I don't care what anybody says. That's what friends do as well. And I say that to all people. And therefore, these negative people that are doing that, they're not worth our thoughts.
No.
Forget, like you said it. You say it to me, because I get cross with these people. But you've encouraged me in many ways to say, well, sod them. It doesn't matter what they think or what they do. It doesn't matter at all. It's what you do. As long as you're true to yourself. If you feel like that, then be true to yourself and go with that. Just go with that. You know yourself deep inside. And I think that's it. That's all I can say. And I think Deboy gave you a really good testimony about his own situation, and I think that's true. So,
if you're trapped, and in many ways, you got to look at it like this as well. if you've got a good community around you, say you've got a partner or you've got kiddies that you got to look after or whatever it is, you've got an outlet where you can talk to somebody. You've got the release valve, on that kettle, because you're like a kettle. Your body's like a kettle, and if that thing that releases that pressure is blocked, then basically your kettle's going to blow up, and that's what's happening to your body. So I don't have a wife, girlfriend, friends that turn up, for just a chat. They're mostly on, they're online these days. All of those sort of things, and you don't have that in the background, and then you put your efforts then into work, and then work is then causing you a problem. Then basically, like 2/3 of your life is blocked off, and then if the only other outlet you've got is YouTube, and that's going on in there as well, that's when you titter over the edge, because that's what's happened, because you keep moving that egg basket from one place to another. That's what you're doing, right? And you just go, right, I'll put my eggs into YouTube then, and then YouTube falls to bits. There will be a point where you go, I've got nowhere to go. I've actually got nothing now. Everything's exhausted. But that's because you have so much negativity around you, you don't see the positives. And one of those positives could be you just haven't thought about the other thing that you could be doing. Walk away, go for a walk, take the countryside in, have a day off from work and do this. Whatever it is that you could do, there are always something. There's never something where the brick wall is so high that it's you're 5 foot and it's 10 miles high, right? There will always be something where, well, if it's 10 foot high, I'll go round it. You know what I mean? Frank said something about security. Anybody will tell you that anybody that looks at security will know that the egg is the strongest point at the front and at the back, right? The best way is its weakest point, which is around the edges, right? Don't come in from the front, don't come in from the back, going through here. So of course that's what you need to do. You have to think of the alternate, and sometimes your brain's clouded because you've got no one to talk to about it. And the other bad thing about not having somebody to talk to about it is you overanalyze, and when you overanalyze, you get even worse. This is why I go for my walks at lunchtime. Is A, it's a physiotherapy walk, but B, it clears my brain. I reset myself and come back and sit down at this chair and carry on for the next 3 or 4 hours at my job. But I cleared my brain for an hour. Reset. You hit the button, you go reset. Oh, forget what happened this morning. But it's so hard to do if you're full of shit, if everything is full of shit. So.
Even sometimes if you can just find some point in the day, do something that you just want to do. Just do it. Enjoy something. Just try and do that. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter. Something that just might just give you some enjoyment. That's all you can do sometimes when you ain't got much time. And that'll remind you, and that'll give you strength.
Yeah, James just put something else. He said it's to do with people haven't got the patience anymore, because he's got, look, I'm getting 25, 30 emails demanding information while I'm trying to do a job. This is exactly where I'm at in my job, because I do the analytical work for IT.
Right.
We got these dashboards, and these dashboards turn around and say, this ticket's just come in and you need to do this, right? I'm in a particular role. 1 week it's priority, the next week it's data analyst, the third week it's projects, whatever, right? But the trouble is, emails are coming in from my manager. I turned around to in one meeting, and I turned around and they asked us, what is slowing us down? And I turned around and said, management's slowing us down. They said, what do you mean? And I said, well, on Monday, I have 3 meetings to go to that are 45 minutes each. Well, I've just stepped in the door. There's a meeting. a half hour, then another meeting, then half an hour, then another meeting, then it's lunch. By the time I get to the afternoon, I've done no work. Why so many meetings on a Monday? Why can't they be staggered through the week? What is this? These meetings are all to tell us, how to do things and stuff like that. I get it. Can't, but at the end of the day, which is more important, the job that you've asked me to do, or the going to this meeting where we're talking shit?
Yeah.
Right. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's bad management.
And you think those meetings are not productive at all?
No, they're not productive. The first meeting that we go to is
do the job.
Right. This is how it's going to be. The next meeting is an all-group meeting where all of our departments get together, and we're talking about the same things that we just did in our meeting.
Yeah.
And then, but only this time it's now as a group thing for all of our departments, right? So, instead of it just being your one little bit, it's now everybody. And then the next one will be, it could be anything, right? But you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
3 meetings that are an hour each. You got 4 hours in the morning. That means that I had an hour to do any work. And all the time that's happening, jobs are coming in and emails are coming in. And I'm going, by the time I've read my emails, gone to these meetings and done one job, that's my day gone.
Yeah.
And I have to come in on Tuesday on backpedaling, because I've got to go and do the work I couldn't do on Monday on Tuesday. But Tuesday is now starting to build up with that work. Yeah. And it just goes on and on and on. So when it comes to what Jamie is saying, so these people are receiving 25, 30 emails demanding information. I'm going, I'm with you on that, buddy. Tell you now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to set up a rule that says any email that comes into my box at this time, send it to the bin.
Yeah.
And in Outlook, you can write something like that. You can actually do it. But I swear, it's just, now they're pushing AI, and that's a whole nother thing, right?
Yeah.
But you can actually tell AI to write the email for you and just hit and it will reply for you. But no. I'm old school. I'm the person that uses my own intelligence and want to write my own email. I ain't going to have some chat bot thing that writes in my way, in a sort of way that I would write something. No, bugger that. But that's AI for you. But anyway, we better move on, because it's like 25.
But you've opened an interesting discussion here. It says, Don't Sub says, I hate my job, but I'm too old to move. Yeah, I'm just counting down the years to retirement now. I understand that totally. Yeah. And then Tony says, I've read that stress is a normal human emotion going back to the days when we were hunter-gatherers, but keeping it to a minimum is the best thing you can do. That's true.
Exactly.
You do need some stress. It can be a motivational thing, but it's
double-edged sword.
It's when, as you say, it's too much. Stress is a massive killer. I'm afraid you're right, Don't Sub. Yeah. And then Jamie says, Don't Sub. That's me too. In my 50s, but I just can't deal with how demanding the construction industry has become. I'd rather earn half the salary and no stress now. Well, you said it. I think you made up your own mind there. You said it. Don't Sub McMahon, it sounds like you'd be a lot happier out of it, to be honest. Yeah. Sorry, Ian and Delmoy, for being too serious tonight. I'll lighten the mood now. No, that's fine. We'll talk about anything. We don't mind. We can have a good laugh as well, but we can also be serious. No problem. So we ask us anything.
Yeah, ask it. It says it down the bottom.
Yeah, so we can do that. And then here he is, Jim Jam. Yo. The Dudley one has entered. Well, thank you, Mr. Dudley one. Some cracking bargains this week. Here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. You've got here. You're all good people talking on such a powerful subject. Thanks, Jamie, for your honesty. Stress is something not time. That's a good point. We're all saying that, yeah. And then Tony says, hi, James. And then James, I'm literally at work now. Bloody heck. Hi, Tony, Jim says. And then James says, after meeting Carolyn Munro, I rewatched The Golden Voyage of Sinbad. Such a great film, even better than last time I watched it. Harryhausen was a genius. I think a lot of people will agree on that.
One of my
yeah.
boyhood heroes.
Jim, you git. There you are. Nice, aren't you? So good. Oh, Jim Joe. I had a stroke 6 years ago. Science says it was due to a crappy, stressful job. You really need to be careful in life. Yeah, you said it. Your experience spot on there. Well, happy to get into the labyrinth this week for £6. Well, that's pretty good. £6, I would say. And then Jim Jones says, "Hi, Deli Welly."
Now, I take it what he's talking about there is the TV show Into the Labyrinth.
Right.
Now, that's with Rothko and Bellor. And all that right. It's a fantastic TV show that I've got up there, and I tell you, I've seen it on eBay selling for about £85.
Wow. Oh gosh.
So Jim Jam knows his stuff, and I told him if he ever gets it, I want him to watch it because I don't want it to end up on his shelf doing nothing.
Yeah, get it watched. Yeah,
it was a boyhood thing that I watched that I loved, but it's one of those things.
Oh yeah.
Ron Moody couldn't do anything wrong when I was a kid.
No.
What a great! He's in that film that I keep talking about, Flight of the Doves.
That's right. Yeah.
He's in Oliver.
Yeah.
Into the Labyrinth was another one.
Yeah.
So I mean, he was just like a granddad
sort
of thing, that I just really liked. And here he was supposed to be sort of like Merlin type thing in this labyrinth type thing that he sent the kids to try and get the Nidus for him because he needed that to kill Bellor, or destroy Bell. It's great. I loved it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Caroline Munro. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, Tony Hawk says Caroline Munro seems so approachable, Jamie, in your video that she did. It's wonderful. Don't sub says Sarah Olson, that's awful. I hope you're fully recovered now. Yeah, and we.
So do I. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
it's nice that people are opening up about these sort of things. Some people will keep it to themselves.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but sometimes you've got to release that pressure.
Yeah.
You need to do it.
Yeah. Saiwo, wow. Hope you feel better now. Yeah, I am now. It was a shock to the system. Yeah, it is a shock to the system. Yeah. I know my own health was same. But anyway, I won't go into all that. But sorry about that, Si. I hope you're doing better now. Yeah, same. Definitely. Tony, she was wonderful, very accommodating. She even said she liked my Plague of the Zombies t-shirt, which I loved actually when I got a selfie with her. Yeah, actually, I rather like that t-shirt.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great t-shirt.
I thought, where was mine, you bastard? That's what I
thought. I couldn't believe her age when I checked. 77?
Yeah.
No, I didn't look it. Really? I would never have thought that.
She's got such a great following on that Talking Movies channel where she does the Hammer stuff as well. She gets no end of people asking her questions.
Wow.
She's a fantastic coach. She's a bit like that. It's the same sort of format as that Elvira thing, that they had in their 80s, where she introduces the movies and all that. But they always ask her a question like, do you remember working with this guy? What was your fondest memory of working with this? And she'll answer it. It's great.
Fantastic. But I didn't realize she was as old as that. 77. Crikey. That is amazing.
Well, the first thing I saw when I saw the pictures, I thought to myself, if I didn't know Caroline Munro myself, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, I've seen it. Well, I saw her when she came on set when she was in the film Apocalypse that I was an extra in. Is Muckman Movies 8 foot tall, or is Caroline Munro 4 foot? 4'4" or something, right? There's a bloody big difference between the two. I just thought I'm glad that Jamie's got long arms.
And then Jamie, were her eyes as beautiful as usual? Yeah. And then he says, absolutely, Si. And she certainly doesn't look 77. No, she don't, Jamie. Si says, I loved how she took time with you and have a conversation. Exactly. Goblin, Suspiria film sky is one of my favorites. It suits and fits the film perfectly, Jamie said. And then I love Goblin's theme in Deep Red. Yeah. It's so cool. Yep. She even went to speak to a disabled guy.
Yeah.
And sat on the cold stone steps for 10 minutes with him. She came across as a very kind and down to earth. Oh, it's lovely. You know, you hear negative stories sometimes, and it's so good to hear people that are really nice and go out of the way.
Yeah, he mentioned it in his video that he didn't mind waiting in the queue for 10 minutes. Nobody else in the queue seemed to be bothered about it either. It's just such nice.
It's great. Yeah, I like that. You can imagine someone not like that though, but Don't Some Gay says, I love AC/DC and was very lucky to meet Brian Johnson for a few years back. We had a chat and he's a lovely guy, totally down to earth. Oh, that's great. Oh, yeah, I was lucky to see ADC with what's the name of the guy who was what's his name? I don't know. I've forgotten his name. But yeah, I saw him. I saw them in Wembley in 1980. They were absolutely brilliant. Northerner though, we're all friendly up here. Of course we are. We're brilliant. I must get Deep Red watched. I've had the Arrow edition sitting on the shelf for ages. Did watch Cat o' Nine Tails and enjoyed it. Well done, Tony. I'm glad you enjoyed it. He's a fellow Geordie like myself. Oh, crikey. Yoko Ono gives Wailing Cat a bad reputation. I know. She does. And then I will laugh at that. And then Tony says, Deep Red is my favorite Argento film. Unpopular opinion, I know. I think people are probably getting into it. Deep Red. And then Deep Red is great, Tony. Probably my second favorite Argento film, Jamie says. And then Tony says, I've watched loads of Giallo, but not many Argento. Something I'll rectify. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And then Rocket Bunny says, I'm quite a rocker in my youth, but never really understood why Iron Maiden was so big. Then I saw them play live about 10 years ago, and they were just incredible. Been a huge fan ever since. That's interesting how you get changed by seeing them live. Yeah, seeing that can happen. Your opinion can totally change. Maiden certainly put on a good show. And then McMahon says, I finally watched Tenacious D. Oh, the Pick of Destiny. I had good fun with it. No idea why it took me so long to watch it. I love the D. Yeah, I've not seen that one, but I know it's quite popular, funny. It's a bit of a comedy, isn't it? I saw Rush. This is Rocket Money play about the same time, of which I've been a used fan most of my life. However, they almost underwhelmed compared with Maiden's live performance. Bruce Dickinson worked the crowd so well. That's it. Yeah, Bruce Dickinson. He's the one I remember. Also watched As Above, So Below, a handheld camera horror set in the Paris catacombs. A cross between Indiana Jones and Last Crusade, The Descent, and Blair Witch. Oh, The Descent. Love The Descent. Brilliant. That sounds a good recommendation. Although I'm glad I managed to see Rush back then, as left as he has now. Yeah, they still carry on. They've got a replacement drummer, haven't they? They're still going on tour, Rush. Great band. I didn't used to like I've got into them. There was somebody when I was younger, I didn't quite get into them. Now I absolutely love them. So I says, I think that the good old days was on BBC4 every Saturday evening. Oh, they've had repeats of it, have they? Oh, right.
I do know that it was on. I do know that it's on a
Yeah,
Saturday at
yeah,
BBC Three, BBC Four.
yeah.
It's they only show half an hour bits, and it's not every week.
Oh, right.
I was talking about a few years back where it
Yeah.
wasn't even there, and,
Oh, yeah.
I went on YouTube and found Frankie Howard and
You
Barbara
find them
Windsor and
all.
that doing all of
Yeah,
these things, you know.
yeah. Um, I love City Varieties Theatre. Here he has. He's on right. It's the perfect size with an intimate atmosphere. It is. It's quite small, isn't it? You feel close to the performer whenever you sit. And I totally agree because I used to catch my bus home just outside the City Varieties when I went to school because I went to school in the middle of Leeds. I used to catch my bus right from there, and I always thought, "What a great show!" When I went, we had to my dad's works pantomimes and stuff like that. We had to go and watch them there, but I won't talk about pantomimes. Deboy, give us some tunes on keyboard. Bye. And
Do you know what? If the camera stretched over there, I possibly would.
Used to have to sit through good old days because my parents enjoyed it. I couldn't stand it. I understand totally. I think I was like that, but then I changed. When I look back now, I think, oh yeah, there were some good acts on there.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I was exactly the same, right? My parents would put it on, and they'd go, and I'd go, "Don't know what you're enjoying that for." But the thing is, you then look back and you go, I'm looking now for anything that I can find on Barbara Windsor, or I'm looking for anything that's got Cannon and Ball in and all this sort of stuff. And these things come up and you go, oh, Christ.
Yeah.
Right. They did a stint on that. And you have a look at it and you go, I didn't know that he could sing, or I didn't know that he could, you'd have Les Dawson do something on the good old days and you'd go, oh, bloody hell. I didn't know that he told his sort of like he adapted his comedy that he used to do in the clubs up north and adapt it to how it might have been if he was doing it in 1905 or something. And you just go, oh, it's really quite good, really clever.
I know used to be on it. Who I didn't like was Ken Dodd.
Oh, right,
Ken Dodd. He was on a lot, I think. My mum and dad used to be, oh, he's wonderful. And then play it again, Dell. Oh, dear. Yeah.
Don't dare me or something. Probably wouldn't.
Yeah, boy. Did you order that Jerry Goldsmith set on Kickstarter?
Yeah, I thought I mentioned it. It passed it. The Kickstarter finished and it got its funding. And I put my bid in. The one that I want with the T-shirt and the poster about a week before the Kickstarter ended. It was only about, I think, £1,000 away from meeting its funding thing, and I went, I don't think I can lose now. Because what can happen is you can back a Kickstarter, and they can basically take your money, and then it doesn't reach its funding thing, and they keep the money.
Oh, really?
So I tend to get a bit scared with Kickstarter.
Yeah. Oh.
So yes, and I'm all I can do now is just wait until the book is, because the book has been published. But it's been published in other languages other than English. It's in French.
Yeah.
So all they're really asking for is the money to translate it into English and then sell it. And I went for the one with the slip cover and all that stuff. So, yeah.
This is interesting. Rocket Bunny says, I did an interview from my office a few months ago after I'd given it a good clean, but forgot to put all my keyboard covers back on. And the person interviewing me thought I was in a music studio. Oh, yeah, well, that's good. I thought this was quite impressive. Richard Chamberlain was
Alan Quartermain,
Sharon Stone is in them as well.
Very early role for her, yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, Jerry Goldsmith did the scores.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah. Yeah, she looks damn fine in those films. Yep, she does. Yeah. Uh, Tony Hawk says, think Sean Connery played Alan Quatermain in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Last performance of his, if I remember correctly. I think you were right. That is his last film. Connery's last film, yeah.
Yeah,
Laugh Out Loud.
before he got disillusioned with Hollywood directors.
Takeaway time. You haven't had that for a few weeks, but it did come back. It's come back. It just shows you we can bring things back. Hey up, fish and chips have turned up. Oh, I wish it was. I'd have been eating them. I'd have been on them. It wasn't for me.
I haven't eaten today. I have to tell you this now. When you were seeing me taking all my drinks, that, by the way, those were my tablets for the evening.
Yeah.
They weren't Tic Tacs or anything. I was having my tablets.
No.
Because when this finishes, I have to go straight to bed. So I don't want to go to my blister packs and open all my tablets.
I get you totally. What are we having tonight, Ian? Well, I don't know what he ordered.
I don't know what you're having, but I'm having this. Yeah. Salmon paste sandwiches usually.
Well, I'll tell you what I had before I came on. Kit Kats. I love Kit Kats. I've been into eating.
That's not a dinner.
Well, it was like a pudding. I had my dinner, but it wasn't a proper dinner. I had something to eat, but then I always have to have chocolate to finish. I ended up having quite a few Kit Kats. I didn't realize that Kit Kats.
Do you know what a lot of people do now? Right? Let Sainsbury's go bust as far as I'm concerned. Right? Let the bastards rot. Right? Because all you got to do is wait until Easter is finished and go in there and buy all the Easter eggs at £1.25 that cost them about a tenner. Right?
Oh.
Stack up with chocolate, and you've got a load for 6 months.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I didn't realize that Kit Kats, I looked this up, it's typical of me, first came out in 1935. And the oldest chocolate bar that you can get nowadays is Fry's chocolate cream. That is 1866. Really? 1866. That goes back to.
I thought it was a Wonka bar.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I
thought it was a Wonka bar, and I've been looking for a golden ticket for years.
So you're eating a Victorian era chocolate bar. Some people might say bloody tastes like it, mate.
Yeah, I did read somewhere, I think one of the only sweets that are still going that is actually goes back a long far is the humbug.
Humbug. Oh crikey, they might go back even further then. I don't know. But
I think it's like early 19th. I think it's like 1810 or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
So Kit Kats are not that old, 1935. But I love Kit Kats.
But yeah, that's what I do anyway. Those mini eggs that cost £4.50 a bag, they're £1.25 or something after Easter.
You might.
So all I'm saying is sod Sainsbury's, because I don't think they're on sale or return. They have to actually buy them, and then they have to reduce them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They said, "What are we having tonight?" And let's look. Oh no, my latest parcel arrived a day early. So he's getting into the jokes as well. It's all him that does it, Deboy. I might see Heather Langenkamp at the Sheffield HorrorCon in the summer. Oh, you're going to Sheffield HorrorCon now? You must have got a real taste of it.
Well, Sheffield is only slightly north of Birmingham.
I think I've got the bug for conventions now. Yeah, fantastic.
I used to go by Sheffield an awful lot when I was on my way to Manchester, and come back home. Yeah. Because it's just north of Birmingham. It's not that far.
Yeah. I know it's Southern Yorkshire. It's South Yorkshire. And then Don't Stop says, I had a chippy tea also tonight. Oh, haddock and chips, 2 fritters, mushy peas, and some scraps. I've got to own up. I'm not a fan of mushy peas. I just prefer normal peas. I don't know why. But
Now,
there we are.
were those fritters, were they potato fritters?
Yeah.
Right? Because for years and years I kept calling them scallops.
Yes, we
Right?
used to have that
And
term
every
as
time you go
well.
into a chip
Scallops and
shop now, they
fritters.
call them potato fritters.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
But I just, because I went into a chip shop once and I said, "Can I have a scallop?" They said, "We don't know what you're talking about."
Oh.
And I went out there, I went potato fritter, for God's
Yeah,
sake,
yeah.
just a big bloody chip with, you know what I mean? A big slice of potato with batter
Yeah,
around it, right?
that's right. And then James has sold my faulty projector last weekend, £150. Not bad, considering it was faulty. Well, I hope that you told him it was faulty.
Well, I tell you what, the funny, no, but the funny thing about it is that that's one of the things that I watch on YouTube a lot, which I don't really talk about, and that's those programs where they called "Can I Fix This?" Right?
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
They said, "Oh, I bought this on eBay, and it said it was broken, right? And I don't know what's wrong with it, but let's see if I can fix it." And they unscrew it, and they're going, "Right, I'm going to get the multimeter out." And they're going like this, and I love all those things. I'm there.
Well, this might fit with what you're saying, because he says, by the way, he knew it was faulty. So he could be one of those people who knows how to fix things.
Yeah, he'll be getting his multimeter out, I tell you.
Yeah. And then Dots Up Game, Ian, this is your channel, yes. Can you please move me out of the spam area? Thank you.
It's not a spam area, it's YouTube doing it.
Yeah, he's more technical.
Sorry,
I don't know.
I don't mean to be disrespectful here. What I'm trying to say here to you, Don't Sub, is there is no sin bin that you're in, because Ian doesn't have the technology to understand how a ballpoint works, let alone how to put somebody in a sin bin, right? What's happened is YouTube has basically they've changed their chat engine and they've opted people in and out and all of this sort of stuff, right? And all that's happened is at some point something like this has happened, and you are then on, I suppose, shut the fuck up, I suppose, in YouTube terms. My friend Steve Still Plays Games also has the same problem in this channel. It's nothing to do. Ian and I have gone through his settings, and nobody is in the sin bin. There isn't one person. I told him, I said, go here, go here, go here.
Yeah.
What does it say in this box? And he says, there aren't any names in that box. And I said, well, then you haven't got anybody in on stuff you know, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? There is nobody. Yeah. So if you can't be seen in here, then basically it's not to do with his settings. It's YouTube. That's it. I can't say any more than that, because that's how it works.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you've got these problems, but you've explained it quite well there. Yeah, I'm not technical, and it's nothing I've done personally to you, so please understand that. You know, we're always glad. We don't want to do things like that.
Yeah, we want people. We don't want to turn them away.
Yeah. Bob says, Del, hopefully I get a chance to comment on your blog, as I am off this weekend, which is nice after working all of last weekend. Not sure if I have a comment yet or not. Hope you and your family are okay. Oh, that's nice.
I'll say it a million times to you, Bob. I never look at it as bad if one person can't comment on a week. I haven't heard from Denny in a long time, but he sent a message to me on Discord saying, sorry, matey, things have been going on with my life, but I'll be coming back very, very shortly. These just fill me with the thanks very much. It's just nice to know that you're still watching, you know, finding the time to watch, you know. I'm always so pleased when somebody takes the time just to put a line that said, today I thought about you. You know what I mean? Because it's like, wow, I was actually in someone's brain, and they thought to themselves, I must make a point of just saying, hope you're all right, Del. You know what I mean? I mean, you don't have to put anything, you know. But the thing with that is, I don't know then if you've watched. You see what I mean? So I can't comment on everybody's channel. I just know that every time I watch a video, I click the thumbs up.
Yeah.
You know, in a hope that it says one person watched it and they got a like. So that must have been me that watched it then.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's how I do that.
Tony says, "Don't think you'll be in there, Doc." So you know, a few others are unable to comment for no reason. That's apparent.
Yeah.
And then Bob says, "Project Hail Mary did not disappoint." Oh, that's good. I would recommend that anyone that likes to read, give it a read. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
because it is based on a book. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he says, having read it back in 2021 with no reviews, etc., I'm glad I did. Feels like I got to tell the story as it was originally meant to be found. That's really good. Tony says, my blood phone has just popped up a message.
My bloody phone.
Oh, my bloody phone. Well, it could be a Dracula phone. My bloody phone has just popped up a message that it's time for bed for me in 30 minutes. Must think I'm a child. Did it last week too? So your phone's controlling you now.
Bloody government and their new policy of how to doctor things. Yeah.
And then Si says, "We Bob, I've seen Project Hail Mary 5 times now. Thank the Lord for Odeon Limitless." Ah, yeah, 5 times. But you must love it. Tony, nighty night, night Si. The book is not nice. Sorry, Si. The book is worth a read if you haven't. And then Si says, "We Bob, I'm thinking of buying the book." Oh well, that's good. Tony says, "I'll just get my Horlicks and malted biscuits before I retire to bed."
Good God, Horlicks.
Bob says, "I bought it for my."
See, we Bob goes back to Ovaltine, don't you?
I bought it for my daughter who hates sci-fi, and she loved it. She also was dancing in the cinema when Rocket appeared, but she's a bit weird. And then Rocket is one of the best characters in the sci-fi, in my honest opinion. Really,
as long as nobody thinks that the boxer went up into space, we're all right.
Weebo says, "I haven't done a video on my art channel for a while. I will get back to it now that all my work in the weekends is now over." Whoa, paycheck was nice though. Well, that's good. Get back to sort of things that
I do know he hasn't. I do know he hasn't done much of his art, but I still big his art channel thing up because I know he'll be coming back to it. He's already explained to me many times in my blog. He's turned around and said that he's been doing this Project Zomboid with a Morgan Freeman voice and all of this, just so he put something out there. But I've told him, I'll tell you what, I find that it's like listening to one of those audio books. I think it's brilliant. I can watch those things. Fantastic. Keep bringing them out, matey. I think they're brilliant.
Yeah. And then Weebub says, "I would agree. Amaze. Just sad they never did more with jazz hands." And then Tony says, "Sweeney 2 is the greatest sequel." You're a big Sweeney fan. We know. Yeah. And then good laugh there. Such an imaginative title too. I like the irony. Well, yeah. And then has anyone seen the teaser for Godzilla -0? Wow. Oh, that it sounds like that's a good recommendation. And then can you give me a similar movie to The Station Agent in terms of quiet and just a lovely movie, even though it's sad in places? I don't know.
Well, just think of a quaint film like The Railway Children and all that sort of stuff. So What I'm trying to say is to you, Ian, can you think of a film that he might not have heard of that's well known, that's a little bit like, that's very twee, you know?
Crikey. It's a good question.
Well, what I mean, if he hasn't seen it already, just look back a couple of weeks and watch that film that Jamie asked us to watch and things like that. Those are great sort of like films.
Oh yes, that the Peanut Falcon.
Yeah,
one. Yeah, that was.
But I think he already knows that one. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying that that's the sort of film that you're probably asking about.
Yeah.
I mean, there isn't one that comes to mind. But I'll tell you what, now that I know you've asked that question, I'll probably come up with an answer by my blog. So I'll probably put something.
I've got one, and I watched it again the other day. I make no secret, I absolutely love this film. I love The Life of Chuck.
Yeah.
Chuck
but I think he's already seen that one.
Yeah, it's a beautiful film.
I'm trying to think of one that we haven't mentioned.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's seen The Fastest Indian.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a film. Tuesdays with Maury.
Yeah. Jack Nicholson. Not Jack Nicholson, Jack Lemmon.
Yeah.
The Jack Lemmon one, yeah.
That's a lovely film.
Yeah. Anyhow, I'm sure there is ones that we've probably mentioned them all, but can't think of any more.
Yeah, just don't watch Under Siege. I don't think that's a quaint slow burning type film.
Under Siege? You mean the one with that? I've never seen that one. That
Steven Seagal.
Oh, no, I've never fancied that.
I mean, he must have seen things like Swallows and Amazons and all of that sort of stuff. So you don't mention those. I mean, I'd mention things like The Amazing Mr. Blunden and things like that.
Yeah.
First Men in the Moon, you know.
I'll tell you what I like. Whistle Down the Wind. I've talked about with Hayley Mills.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful film. Absolutely beautiful. Twitch is better than YouTube these days. I don't know Twitch. I've no idea.
Yeah, I must admit, Frank, Twitch has got its good points, and I mean, my friend Steve again. If you're into your gaming, Twitch is brilliant.
Yeah,
Twitch is brilliant. I don't like Twitch, but I understand why people use it.
Yeah.
And now what people are doing now to get their channels up. They're broadcasting to multi-platform. So at the same time as they're doing a live stream on YouTube, it's also being broadcast to their Twitch stream.
Yeah.
So that people can. But I tell you what, it infuriates me when people do that, though, a little bit, because if you're not a very good host, right, and recognize that somebody's just written something in a Twitch channel and you're communicating back and you're not in Twitch, but you're in YouTube, you don't know what the question was. So there's somebody turning around and talking, and then they'll say, yeah, I agree, Steve. Yeah, I agree with everything that you've written there. You're going, well, I'm in YouTube. He's written that in Twitch. How am I supposed to bloody know what he said? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is why you go down the approach that I like, Ian, which is you read out the comment and then you give a reply to it and you display it on the screen. But you can't do that if you're doing it against two different platforms because you can't copy the text across. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't understand what they're talking about. So sometimes it's a little bit alienating. A little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not condemning anybody that does do that because my friend Mainmeister broadcast and I understand everything that's going on there because he's talking. He reads out in verbatim and then answers. Do you see what I mean? But there are so many where I've seen people do this, and you've lost me. I don't know what the hell you're talking about because you're answering a question on somebody on a different stream, and I don't even know what their question was. Anyway, so yeah, that's an interesting point, Frank.
Yeah.
Mm.
Is that the sequel to the one released a year or two ago? Si got that one and enjoyed it. I think the Godzilla one. Yeah, I think it is the sequel.
It is, yeah.
And then Si says, "Wee Bob, have you seen Nobody's Fool with Paul Newman? If you haven't seen that, I recommend it." Right, that's a good recommendation. Thank you, Si. Yes, Tony. Tony says, "I'll check out the trailer." And then Wee Bob says, "Thanks, Si." Wee Bob. I clearly was joking about Star Wars. Sorry, some of my kids haven't seen it though. Yes, I have failed as a dad.
He hasn't failed. Silly sod.
You always find that happens.
Take it like this. Scotland's only just got electricity up there, right? So, you know, I mean, they've still got gas lights and stuff up there. So I wouldn't be surprised if Star Wars was the greatest blockbuster film released last year up there. You know what I mean? Everybody else got it in 1977, but Scotland's only just got it. You know what I mean? Wouldn't surprise me.
What kind of sociopath are you, Wee Bob? You've let the side down.
You know, Scotland's the only place I know that if you travel from England to go to Scotland, right, you actually have when you change trains just short of Scotland, everybody gets off the train and they give everybody tandem bikes, and you have to bike the rest of the way. Because they haven't worked out of the steam train came out. Sorry, no, I'm being nasty now.
Yeah. I apologise to all our Scottish people. Dear. And then I know I'm a terrible person. Wee Bob says no. Wee Bob is the dad from the film Dogtooth. Oh, crikey. I've not seen Dogtooth.
No, nor
have I. I haven't seen that one, but I will assume he's a horrible person with no morals. And he says, "Watch it, Bob. It's brilliant." Oh no!
There you go.
We'll add it to my to the list. It's by, here we go, Yorgos Lanthimos, who directed The Favourite. Oh, that Begonia. And Poor Things, Poor Things.
Yeah, it's in Begonia.
Yeah, Poor Things. I've not seen Poor Things, but I wasn't sure about it. What some people said about
I think
it.
the favorite is that one that's set in the that's based on one of our queens or something, wasn't it? It's
the Queen Anne. Is that the Queen Anne?
No, it's like one of these. She it's about her handmaidens. And she was a queen, and it's got that Olivia, what's her name in it? Olivia
Colman.
Olivia Colman, the favorite.
Yeah.
And she won. She nearly got an Oscar for it. I think it was. I think it's set in like the 19th or 18th century or something.
Well, that's why I thought it was Queen Anne right at the beginning, but I don't know. And then The Lobster is another of his worth watching. All right. Dogtooth. Yeah, there we are again. Have you seen Dogtooth, Si? It's compelling but very disturbing film. Oh, disturbing. That's an interesting word. Ian, if you're after a more child's eye view of Star Wars, have you watched the series Skeleton Crew? It was the most critical, well-received series next to Andor, was it? I quite enjoyed it.
I heard of it, yeah.
Yeah. No, I was just comparing how, Star Wars had developed. It's interesting how it's ended up very sort of serious and very adult. But nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying anything wrong with that. It's just interesting. He said it follows 4 kids with a space pirate. Oh, Jude Law. It's well written and the production is very good for a Star Wars show angled more for kids. That sounds good. Yeah. And then Si says, Jamie, I've got it, but I've never seen it. I know the premise. And then we've got Josh. He's back. Yeah. Hey, fellas. Hello, Josh. It's good to see you back. I saw you on
he went
YouTube.
live a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Said that he missed us all and he was coming back.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I'm glad you come back. I really am. And then
means I could start showing him on my blog again.
Yeah, I know you that's right. But yeah. And then Rocket Money says, "Hey Josh," and then Jamie says, "Question: Your top 10 films from the 1980s. I've been challenged by a YouTuber to do mine. Oh, I can't go to the 80s. It's a bit much, but later on. If I had this question earlier, we might have had a look at it. But
yeah,
I mean, 10 films. It's like 10 films in any era. Can be pretty difficult to do, and the 80s is full of a lot of great films.
I'm going to answer in my exact same way that I've always done, which is I avoid top 10s like the plague as a question, but this is the difficulty I have. If somebody mentions top 10 films of the 80s, I always turn around to them and say, can we put this into a genre like the top 10 films of the 80s science fiction, or the top 10 films from the 80s comedy? Because how can I turn around and say that this film is better than this film?
Yeah.
You know, I do know that you're going to see some films mentioned by Si now, and I applaud him. But it's just when it comes to me, I'd be going, do you know what? I love that film, but I can't say it because it's not as good as that. I'll be like this.
I'd be still going, Dune 84. Should Dune 84 be there? I'd still be going on about that. I'm so stuck. This is interesting. What's he put down here? Big Trouble in Little China. Of course, The Thing. The Empire Strikes Back. You see, I mean, all these are Raiders of the Lost Ark. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And we like that one. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I've never seen. I've honestly never seen that film. Back to the Future. You see, we've got Back to the Future. Die Hard. Aliens. E.T. I mean, it could just go on and on. You know, they're just...
other people might have turned around and said, how can you not have Empire of the Sun? And other people would turn around and say, see what I mean? It just goes on and on and on because, I mean, you could look at all of the Oscar winners or something from 1980 to 1989 and say, how come you didn't have that in it? And all this sort of stuff. And you just go, that's because I can't remember them all at once.
Yeah, but it's the same for any year. I've looked at it for 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It's difficult.
Yeah, but you're doing what I'm saying is top 5 of a certain genre.
Yeah.
Like
westerns or something like that.
For each year. But if you were to say, right, can I have the top 5 between 1960 and 1970 westerns? It'd be bloody difficult because you just mentioned like 50.
Yeah.
Right.
And also,
you got to now shorten that down to 5.
Fashions as well, because I'm noticing now it's getting exceedingly more difficult to find westerns. I'm having to go for TV miniseries and things like that. That's the only way around it because westerns
or something
went
like
out
that,
of fashion. At one time they were produced all the time, and then they had a upsurge when Young Guns came out. I think that. But it's still generally they were seen in decline, or they'd gone on to TV miniseries.
Then, no, Ian. If you go back now 3 years, right, and you'll find tons of them.
Yeah,
because you'll find that there's shows called 1810 and.
I'm looking forward to that. Kevin Costner.
There's Deadwood and all of that sort of stuff.
He's trying to keep them going. He's busy, isn't he, doing all these TV things and what have you. So it's just changed its emphasis. You're not getting the same. At one time, you were getting absolute stacks of cinema releases of westerns, but then it just fashion's changed.
I don't mean to cut you off. It's just we better move on because I've got 10 minutes.
Well, sorry, that was quick. Well done for getting it within the character limit too. Yeah.
There was only 2 or 3 films that I'd have took away from that because I'm not a big fan of E.T. or Ferris Bueller's Day
Yeah. My mate asked me the other day, so I've just copied and pasted. Shh, you're not supposed to say that.
He's just got rid of the magic.
Swap 2 with 3. My bad. And laughing there. A good solid top 10 side.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Just because I say Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I wouldn't include, doesn't mean that it's not. You know.
Yeah.
What I mean?
Cheers, and then got a few years until I can get a taxi, a free lump sum from my pension.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to say got to get a tax-free lump sum.
Yeah, got a tax. I said taxi. Yeah, but tax. Yeah, free lumps. Yeah. I know. I've got mine coming, hopefully. And then bedtime for me. We'll watch on the catch up. You all have a great week. Ben, lad. Ben.
Yeah, because you don't say Ben Hur, do you? You know Ben
Ben. Hey, lad. Anyhow, thank you for joining us, lad. Hey, lad, thank you.
Me, Bob, he always makes me smile.
And night, Bob. That's I says. And could the film you're expecting starring Alain Delon? Yeah, it is coming. It says I'm waiting to next week to show it. Here we are. We knew we had to have one. Peter Cushing. Yes. Alain Delon, Peter Cushing. I could do a French version of Peter Cushing.
No.
I've forgotten about my favorite comfy hammer-style. Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah.
We're not starting another genre. Bloody hell.
Don't understand some people's logic of watching something they don't like simply to leave negative and often hurtful comments. Don't they realize they are wasting their own time? Spot on. I can't argue with that at all. I can't. That's so true.
Probably shouldn't have gone into such a lengthy
No, it's true. It is true. I think I understand exactly what you're saying. I totally agree with you, Tony. Yeah. You're absolutely right, Deboy, about these people who take pleasure piling shit upon shit. Yeah, it's terrible. Looking for fucking keyboard warriors. They have no backbone. Face to face, they're cowards. They are. These trolls who persistently post nasty comments are cunts. It's what he's saying. And they're with spelling. I can't spell. Don't worry, we're all like that. Tony says, all you can do now is try and ignore the negativity. I realize it must be difficult, but if they see you're carrying on, hopefully they'll tire of it and leave you alone. I think
as I mentioned before, you'd think so after 2 years, but they don't.
Health is more important than money, is what Tony says. Poor health and lots of money is not good. No, it's true. Yeah, it's so true. James says, it's got to a point where I'm receiving 25 to 30 emails demanding information each day. While I'm trying to do the job I was hired to do, people expect delivery of information instantly due to the advancement in technology. We used to have a 3-day buffer when I first started this job. We printed out drawings, put them in the post, and that gave us time, but now everything is instant.
Yeah.
Yes. I guess, Tony says, I guess it's likely your job could be replaced with AI eventually, Jamie. Saw a report today where Ukraine are using drones and robotic soldiers. Scarily sounds like Terminator. Robotic soldiers. I've not heard that one. And then James says, I upload our email drawings now and they receive data immediately, which means I get comments within an hour instead of the 3 days we used to get. Well, that's a big difference, isn't it? 3 days to instant. technology has definitely had many advantages, but it also has disadvantages. Delboy, what's the channel called that Caroline Munro talks on?
Yeah.
That is wanting to know what it is. You know, when you said introducing films.
Yeah. Scroll down.
Sorry?
Scroll down.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Brilliant. Thank you. It's a Freeview channel called Talking Movies, and her show is Movie
that's
Club.
wrong as well.
It's a Friday night late. Right. So
it's
Fridays.
actually if anybody wants to know, it's coming up in a minute. I corrected it. It's Talking Pictures, and it's called Cellar.
It says Bon Scott. Yeah, that's it. And then thanks Delboy, and then Delboy, the Cellar Club. Since September 2001, Caroline Munro has hosted the Cellar Club on Talking Pictures TV, TPTV. There you are. Brilliant. Corrected above, Jamie, for you. And I just put a thumbs up on that. And then hope you went for the JG t-shirt, Delboy.
Oh, you don't have to abbreviate. His name's Jerry Goldsmith. That's all you got to put.
No. I bought several. Well, I don't have to say that name all the time. I bought several Easter eggs the Tuesday after. Quite right. Eat lots of Easter eggs. And love fries chocolate cream. Prefer plain chocolate. Oh yeah, because it's plain chocolate, isn't it? Fries chocolate cream. Yeah.
Yeah.
My mum loved fries chocolate cream. Yeah, it's still going.
I'll tell you what my mum used to like. She used to like After Eight mints.
Oh, I love them. Oh, I still love them.
And I'll tell you what, we used to get them at Christmas, and all I could do, and I put my hand in to get one, and all there was them bloody wrappers that. I went, where the bloody? Why can't you take the wrappers out, you bastards? Right. Do you remember the boxes that were like this? You had a long box like that, and you'd open it up, and you'd go, well, all I've got is empty wrappers. It was just full of thin wrappers like that. There's no bloody chocolates in any of
them. Frozen peas for me. If I have tin ones, I usually get them to make them tastier. Oh, right, yeah. And prefer corned beef to spam. Oh, well, I think I agree with you. I like corned beef, definitely. Corned beef mixed with baked beans. I don't know. Could be okay. I'm not sure. A twee film, this is Tony says, comes to mind called The Man Who Went Up a Hill But Came Down a Mountain. So ages ago on TV about a survey of a Welsh hill which local claims is a mountain. Bit like a Ealing.
Yeah, that's one of the first films that Hugh Grant was in, wasn't it?
Wait a minute. Here we are. Sorry. Yeah. Cut film, but it's from the 90s, I think.
I'm pretty sure that's a Hugh Grant film.
I think you're right. Yeah. And then Tony says, good night, all. Thanks, Tony. Brilliant. Sign 99, guys. And thanks for movie chat, Ian and Delboy. And as usual, the obligatory hello to Mrs. Dell. Brilliant. And you said here, cheers, Si. You know I'll pass it on. And there we are at the end. We've reached the end. My crikey, we've done it. As always, thank you, everyone who's been watching and everybody who's contributed. You've been great, as usual. People have put in a lot of comments. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone. James says, thank you for the advice. And thank you for just being part of our show, Jamie. And Rocketman says, salute and Sithy. Oh, and the next one both. Take care. Good night. Thank you, Rocket Bunny. You've got us. So
is this going to be the first time then that we're not going to bother doing that as a good night?
Thank you, everyone. And thank you also, Delboy, as usual. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. Hope you've enjoyed it like I've enjoyed it. It's been great. And let's just say our farewells, as always.
Goodbye from me.
And it's good night from him.
Good night. No, but you know me. I love Frankie Howard, so it's always salute. And he said it like that as well. Salute.
I'll see thee. I'll see thee again. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
It's possibly saying, go on. It's a bit slow.
I can't wave my hand anymore.